get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith and
Kerry Smith.
Giving you all the late-breaking details of the last week, wrapping it all up, making sense of it all, talking about what happened Friday. There's always a Friday dump, and if you didn't know that, it's because you weren't supposed to know. We'll reveal that, open up some eyes, shed some light on that. They also, things go down on Saturday that aren't normally reported at the beginning of the week, come next week. So we'll talk about that as well. And tonight is a very special night. We are working on special hours, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. If you look at the message bar down at the bottom of the page, if you're on Spreaker and you are listening to this live, you can also live message us during the show. If you want to be a part of the show, you can also call in. The call-in line is 513-888-1538. Be a part of the show if you have something that you want to talk about, something that comment that you might have on any of the topics that we're talking about. Give us a call. You can find us on Facebook. On Facebook at Facebook. That's a weird one.
Lockup?
Yeah, I had a lock. I had a PC lockup.
You need a EpiPen, not something.
I did. I just got a shot. Thank you, producer. Facebook.com/Smith Radio, and that's SMYTH. On Twitter at Smith Radio. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/Smith Radio, which is blowing up. It's been incredible. We're working on more and more followers, more and more people. YouTube seems to be a really good medium for this type of radio show. Oh, you can also get us on iHeart.
We're so proud of that.
And I had no idea. And forgive me, folks. I mean, this is the business that we're in. But iHeart apparently is buying up real radio stations.
Oh, big ones. Huge ones.
Huge one, nationwide. And we're at the beginning of this tsunami. We are on iHeart, and you can find us. We made a short link. Just type in iHeart.smithradio.com, and you can find us on iHeartRadio. Listen to us on the go on your cell phone. You can also leave comments. Please, folks, if you are listening to the show, whether live or playback, go to Spreaker, 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 and find us. It'll be Radio Smith. Apologize, folks. But you can find us there on Spreaker. Like the show. Share the show with your friends and family. We are going to be talking about 3 major topics tonight. Well, 4, possibly 4 if you want to count the debate. But the debate will be in and out throughout the whole show. We're definitely going to touch on Donald Trump's non-scandal scandal. Because Trump has never had a scandal about himself.
Well, and
he's
not to take away from it, because there's definitely some people that I talk to that are volunteers in Trump organization, particularly women who are highly offended by this. Some men that are, how should I say this?
Cucks?
Well, what they're doing is they're giving the response that they feel will be acceptable to the women in their life. And we'll discuss that in full detail.
Right. So I call it a non-scandal because Trump has no scandal about him. Never has. Probably never will. He's an open man, an open book. Matter of fact, when WikiLeaks came out last week with their failed attempt at releasing information, they didn't release anything. It was a self-loving event, if you will, where they loved on themselves. It was like watching a Hollywood, the Golden Globe Awards or something. It was just pathetic. Julian Assange, fail. So anyways, as they failed to release any information up until this Friday, one of the reporters, one of the people sitting in the audience stood up and asked Assange a question and said, "Hey, when are you going to release the stuff on Republicans?" And his answer and somebody had asked him about Donald Trump, release it on Donald Trump. And his answer was, there's nothing we could find to release to make Trump look any worse. I'm like, gee, great Assange. Great way to put it. However, in that sense, Trump is an open book. He doesn't lie. He never has lied. I can't find a lie. So we're going to get into that. It's a non-scandal. We're also going to get into Hillary Clinton's scandalous scandals. She is bedridden with scandals. Went ahead and took some days off, said it was show prep. However, we got insiders telling us that they're rebooting her, getting the proper chips and information into her head so that she knows the questions that Anderson Cooper's going to ask her this time, so she doesn't have to look down. It'll already be programmed into her brain.
She has to download the latest.
Correct.
Hillary 2.6.7.3.
Right,
like
one of those. Yeah.
And once she gets the latest update, then she will have all the files on her hard drive in order to answer properly.
Right. So debate 2016 will be tonight at 9:00. I have a way that we will be. I'm gonna stream it live again. Once again, I streamed the one last debate. I streamed it live on Spreaker, and no problems. Nobody said anything.
Busted you?
YouTube never said a word. So wow, I'm gonna do it again. Yeah, I'm gonna do it again.
You know, I was thinking about this week, and I want to see what you think about it, Brian, and you guys at home. When I was growing up, and all the way up until just recently, like maybe the past couple of election cycles, the debates were on all 3 channels that you can access over an antenna.
A what?
What are those rabbit ear things? They used to call them rabbit ears.
Yeah.
Well, my point is shouldn't everybody have access to the debates, full access on any channel for free? Because it's part of being a citizen in the United States to participate in elections. And as such, you should be educated properly on who you should be choosing.
Right.
And by limiting it by only having 3 debates, all 3 of which you got to have cable in order to watch, is really messed up.
So you're telling me it's messed up that I feel nervous, or that we feel nervous that we would stream it live?
Yeah, I dare
That's wrong.
somebody.
That's wrong. That's messed up.
I dare CNN or whoever else is doing this to try to say, hey, you take that debate down. That's our property.
Right.
The information that you need in order to make an educated vote on election night is our property. What is that? That's unbelievable.
Right.
It never used to be that way. It used to be that you're on all 3. Like, you couldn't watch any shows. That's another thing. Your favorite shows, things that you would maybe want to watch because it's more entertaining than the debates, you weren't even allowed to watch because they had all the channels. And that was good.
Right.
Because you don't want low information voters. Low information voters are what got us Bill Clinton. And it's what got us, to be honest with you, George Bush. I think there was a lot of people, and I was one of them. I'm sorry. I apologize to the American people right now, that I thought it was intriguing that the son of a former president could be president. I thought it was absolutely intriguing.
Right.
And so I was a low information idiot. And I will admit, I did watch all 3 debates. And I went into it with an open mind. And I wanted to pick the guy who won it. And if Al Gore had won it, I would have probably voted for him.
Yikes!
But he didn't win it. So I
Thank
voted for
God.
Bush. Yeah, this is my low information days.
I don't think I've never voted for Democrat in any presidential debate. I'm not even sure if I voted for a Democrat in local venues. One time I was almost persuaded by a relative to vote for this Democrat for sheriff.
Oh,
and I said,
right.
whoa, what's your problem? I can't. What's wrong with the Republican?
Apparently he lost the primary in the Republican primary.
You're right.
And he said, well, I'm not going to let this guy win, so I'm going to run. He was going to go unopposed.
Right.
I think.
Right.
So they needed a Democratic nominee for sheriff.
Right.
And there was no Democratic nominee. So he said, well, I'll do it, even though he was a conservative former Republican. He had to turn over he had to become a Democrat so that he could run on the Democratic ticket.
So you lose to the Republican in the primary.
Right.
There is no Democrat to challenge him. So you say, "Oh well, I'll go against you in the final, the election."
Right.
But as a Democrat,
It's pretty messed up.
And so we had a family member that he's retired law enforcement,
And he knew this guy personally.
yeah, and he said, "You guys don't understand. You understand." And I came to terms with it by saying, "No, what kind of person? What does that say about somebody?"
You rejected that.
I did. So I rejected. But other than that, I cannot.
And if you're listening, Bob, we're sorry. We're sorry. But, I don't know. Maybe there's too much corruption. That's what he could have sold us on.
I think he almost did tell me that there was a bit. Oh man, it was unfair. It was the insiders got him to win it, and he did complain about something being unfair in the primaries. But I still cannot look at a Republican.
I know what it is. It's an ends justifies mean argument, right?
Right.
Because you can't. If you're going to battle corruption, you don't do it by doing the ends justifies means, which is I'll run as a Democrat and then we'll fix all this stuff once I win. Which, by the way, he didn't win. But had he won, presumably, what do you do? Do you go and run again as a Democrat the next election cycle because you were a Democrat?
Oh, like it's Sam Keel saying that in Texas, where it's a heavy Democrat area.
There's parts of the South that are like that. You know how the KKK and all this, all South stuff. There are people,
South Democrats.
Yeah,
KKK.
there are Southern Democrats that locally you have to pretty much. And I think Kentucky's like that. There are Democrats. There are areas in Kentucky where you have to be a Democrat if you're going to win locally. But those same people that vote for the local Democrats always vote the Republican for president. That's why Kentucky always goes red, which is kind of weird.
Oh, okay. No, that makes
it's
a lot
weird
of sense.
that these people that are local who are probably conservative don't just run as a Republican. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway,
And we're also going to talk about and touch on Hurricane
Matthew. I'm like, what? Did we get cut off?
Power pause. We got shadowed.
Well, the thing is in order to build up the excitement rebuild the excitement about Matthew, you need to pull out all the tricks.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's important that we go ahead and get everybody all fear-mongered over these storms because it's important for people to be afraid of them because that's the only way that we're going to convince people that there's a reason why we should oppose global warming, which we all know causes all these hurricanes, which we've had tons of them, right?
Trump caused this one. According to Hillary Clinton, Donald J. Trump and the Republicans caused the hurricane. They are the cause, direct cause of it, and the cause of death because they are deniers of the fact that has been settled by the majority of scientists.
No, all of them. 110%.
Okay, 110 because
there are scientists not even born yet.
They agree with global warming.
Yeah, they're not going to be allowed.
Global
to be
warming,
born.
climate change, climate chaos,
something like that. But yeah,
all of it.
Okay, just let you know in case you're new to this global warming thing. Are we into that? Or are we just
we're into it.
Teasing it?
We're knee deep.
All right. Well, our first topic of the day is a recap of this hurricane that coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever been catastrophic.
I mean, everybody was watching on the heels of it.
In fact, how do we know it was that dangerous? Do we have a soundbite of somebody?
We do.
I mean, we need to know. Because I don't know. Was it really that dangerous? We need to find out. I think Shep Smith may have
from Fox News, probably one of the worst. I really dislike Shep Smith. Not because he has tattooed eyeliner, but because he's just, I really, really have a problem with Shep Smith. Out of all the people, Shep Smith and,
I mean, is he a meteorologist?
I didn't think he was ever a meteorologist. That was never the case. However, he's standing in front of a big, giant thing.
He's standing in front of a big
right, and this is what he has to say.
See this? Melbourne, Daytona Beach, all the way up to Jacksonville. This moves 20 miles to the west, and you and everyone you know are dead. All of you. Because you can't survive it. It's not possible unless you're very, very lucky. And your kids die too.
You're gonna die in there! All of you! You are gonna die!
Oh my God. Oh man, I'm over here just oh my gosh.
Don't spill the beans. That was from Fox News. Can you believe it? That was the run-up.
All of us are gonna what?
All of us are gonna die.
Oh,
that
wow.
was
Shep Smith. Was that a little bit of hyperbole on his part?
No, let's see. Where was he at on that?
Okay, the hurricane's gone now, right?
Right.
There's no more threat. Do we have a death toll?
Apparently,
everybody. Was it everybody?
What? Yeah.
Did everybody die?
No.
Oh, because they left.
Well, they said they were like 10-hour traffic jams getting out of Florida, which would mean a lot of people in their cars are going to die.
That's actually it's a weird little unknown phenomenon.
Right.
That when the leaders who decide whether or not we should evacuate, they make the decision based on whether evacuating is going to save more lives than the amount of people that would die in the evacuation.
Oh, right.
A lot of people don't realize that.
So if we had 1 million people die because of the hurricane, but only 500,000 died evacuating, then let's go ahead and green light the evacuation.
Go ahead and evacuate.
Right.
And in their defense, this is why they got to be careful on evacuation. You don't want to just evacuate if there's not really that big of a probability that it's going to hit, because more people could die trying to evacuate them. That's the whole point.
Right, and that's bad news. You don't want that ever to go down.
That soundbite is hilarious. I did not know that you captured that.
Yeah, we captured that live from Shep Smith. Everybody's dying. Everybody's dying. So, as we move on from the hurricane, there were 10. Apparently, there are about 10 reported deaths in Florida, and in Haiti, there are about 100. Okay, why was there so many deaths in Haiti? Other than the fact that I think they took on more of the storm, the brunt of the storm. But the backstory is that they never rebuilt from back in 2010.
Yeah, it was an earthquake, right?
Yeah, during Hillary Clinton's "We're going to save Haiti" as Secretary of State.
Yeah, that is a huge scandal. There's a lot of people that were going public.
They said there were riots at all of her, Hillary Clinton campaign outfits in New York.
Yeah.
Haitians went to her and rioted out front. No media coverage, no news of any of the rioting of Haitians against Hillary. None.
And that, I'm going to be honest with you right now. You saying that right now is news to me. I didn't know that rioting was happening with the Haitians.
Oh, yeah. I posted a few of the videos on Twitter.
For those of you that were paying attention back then, Wyclef Jean was one of the leading voices and faces of the Haitian crisis, because he was going around and trying to get people to donate to the cause and the rebuilding and to bring awareness to the fact that they had been severely devastated and all that kind of stuff. But what's the engineer trying to do over here?
I have no idea.
You have no idea, apparently. Okay.
So all the money, and it's something that went down during the Haitian crisis when Hillary was trying to help them out, that I thought was interesting, because I remember reading the news back then, and I was just I was taken back by their approach. Apparently there was a cell phone company in Europe that had never, ever before donated to the Clinton Foundation. Made a donation to the Clinton Foundation and somehow worked out a backroom deal, and they were going to provide Haitians with cell phones.
Okay.
Cell phone coverage.
All right.
I just scratched my head. I'm like, this is 2010. Who doesn't have a cell phone? Okay, maybe they're poor.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of a more of a third world type country.
But there were cell phones there already.
Okay.
Which was really strange. Anyway, so kind of reading into it, I'm like, oh, Okay, maybe so. Maybe they're trying to help. I had no idea that this was a backroom, smoke-filled room deal done with the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars the cell phone company ran off with, Clinton Foundation ran off with. It was taxpayer dollars of America that was supposed to help these Haitians. And they didn't see a dime.
So they ran off with taxpayer money, too.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Gone.
How do you not go to prison for this stuff? This is somebody that's running for president of the United States. And it needs to be told. A big part of our show today is going to go over the Trump scandal. And so I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But we're talking about this Haitian debacle where you have Hillary Clinton, who's the Democrat nominee of the, that's really close to possibly being our next president, who is this is so scandalous. And you have people that listen to us that have friends and relatives who are like, oh, man, after this latest Trump scandal, I'm just not going to vote for him, or I'm not going to vote for either of them, or I'm going to support Hillary now. And if you're listening right now and you have friends and relatives that are hitting you up with that kind of stuff, because I know nobody listening right now probably is in the boat of not voting for Trump for whatever reason.
Right.
I'm assuming that you're smart enough to know that at this point in time, this close to the election, and I'll get to this in a minute, what it would cause, what could happen to get me to not vote for Trump at this point. And you got to put in context. But anyway, you look at the scandals, this Haitian scandal, you can't put her in charge of the U.S. Treasury.
No. Good God, no.
No, absolutely not. These are things, what the Clintons do today with their Clinton Foundation, with whatever money, whatever power, smoke-filled rooms. This stuff, they were amateurs at. They were either not doing it or weren't very good at it back in the 90s when they were actually in the White House. All these years later, they are so pro at it. And imagine how much bigger their network is today than it was back then. You let them in the White House now with the increased network, it could be 20 times what it was back in the 90s, maybe 100 times.
I'm sure of it.
The power, the amount of leverage. You got to understand, Bill Clinton was a baby. He was like one of our youngest presidents ever. So he was like a baby. He didn't have the kind of power that he probably has now because of the influence that he has over people that didn't even have power back then, right?
Correct.
Now, there's people now that have power that they didn't back then that the Clintons have total control over. The amount of power that they would wield from the White House is hundreds or maybe thousands of times more powerful than what they had in the 90s. And they're bold. Look at the illegal behavior that they get away with, that they probably weren't sure that they were probably pretty convinced that if they did something illegal back in the 90s, they're probably not going to get away with it. Now they know that there's nothing that could stop them from doing anything. The body count on the Clintons right now is what is it, 46, 47 people?
It depends on what you call body count. If you call body count as in the direct people that she has killed.
Well, people that are dead because of them really wishing they were dead.
People dying in connection to the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation is in the hundreds.
Really?
Hundreds.
Well, I think it's 47 or 46 that are confirmed killed by Clinton, right?
Correct.
Okay. Imagine the confidence you get in being able to snuff somebody out after you've successfully been able to pull it off without any consequences 46 or 47 times.
Right.
How many were they? What was the number up to back in the 90s? It was probably, you could probably count it on one hand. Maybe it was just a couple of them, right?
Right.
Their confidence level to be able to get away with this back then would have been much lower, which means you were a lot safer from the murder of getting murdered by the Clintons back then. Correct. Now that they're getting in the close to that, the 50 to 100 range, it's going to be like nothing. It's going to be like drinking water to them to snuff people out, right?
Right.
So that's how much more dangerous they are now than they were back in the 90s.
Right.
And that's a really important thing to consider. You can't just look back at the 90s and be like, hey, it was a pretty good president. We had prosperous times, peaceful times back in the 90s. Man, maybe we could imagine that it's theoretically possible we could have those again if we let the Clintons back in the White House now. It's totally different. It's night and day. And it's dangerous. It's so dangerous. It would be like the difference between making, I don't want to go down the Glenn Beck road here. I hate to make Hitler comparisons, but let's make a Stalin comparison. Imagine Stalin in the early 30s and giving him power of the whole entire country.
Right.
All right, which he had. And compare that to the power he had, shortly before he died. And the difference is overwhelming, right? Because at one point you're not sure. I think Hitler's probably a better example because there were some limitations to his power when he was coming up in the 30s. Whereas,
when he made a come up before he actually
abolished.
He eliminated opposition with death. Before he got that far,
he had to actually win support from the public.
And so once he was in power,
then
he could start killing all the politicians that disagreed with him.
Right. And so the difference in power between a Hitler in the mid-30s, early 30s, and the power Hitler had in 1941 is like night and day. And that's what we're looking at with a Hillary Clinton. I hate to make that stupid Hitler comparison. I'm not saying she's Hitler. And I don't want to do that because I can't stand it when Glenn Beck does that. But I just want to try to illustrate the difference in power between Hillary Clinton in the 90s and Bill Clinton in the 90s and what they have at their disposal today.
Correct.
Okay. So,
and if you look at the Clinton Foundation, that is something that has its tentacles so far.
They didn't even have that back then.
No, so far and so deep. The Clinton Foundation goes all the way to Russia and back. WikiLeaks and on all the information that they've dumped that people have been sifting through that we've been finding out. There are lists of Democrats who are on board, who have donated to the Clinton Foundation, are on board and on call. The Clinton Foundation is like the Godfather. You donate to him, you go to him, you may ask for a present from him or a gift, and they'll make do on that. But when they call upon you to do something, you must do it. And so for Democrats, they're all on, not all of them, but a lot of them are on board, have already donated. There are Republicans that are in the pockets of the Clintons that are on board.
oh, yeah, absolutely. You see some of them in action lately.
Lindsey Graham. Lindsey
yeah.
Graham came out yesterday. He's a disgusting, vile POS. And Lindsey Graham came out yesterday and made some god-awful comments about how Trump needs to just drop out.
Right.
Dropping out means Hillary wins.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this whole so we're getting into the Trump
Sorry,
scandal.
folks.
Okay.
Getting a little heated.
No, let's get right into the Trump scandal. We have so much on the Trump scandal. What I was really hoping to do, and I'm getting kind of in inside baseball here, but what I was really hoping to do was to just kind of touch on a little bit of the philosophy I have on this Trump scandal, and then move on and be done with it. Go right into the WikiLeaks. Go right into the Justice for Juanita, and then talk about pre-debate and just be done with it. But we have a lot of material that we're going to play for you and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's just get right into it and hopefully drive the point home. It's going to be tough because I'm still kind of in Theoryville when it comes to everybody's reaction to this. But we've come up with some awesome theories that nobody's talking about, and we want to tell you about it because hopefully you can buy into and believe what we feel about it. So then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off in your head when it comes to the Trump scandal. So first of all, for those of you who don't know, so an audio came out. What was it, Friday or something like that?
Yeah.
And we believe, this audio comes from 11 years ago.
Right. I can play the first minute of it whenever you're ready.
I'll intro
okay,
it, yeah. So 11 years ago, Trump was caught on a hot mic before being videotaped exiting a a van, or it was a whatever you call it, a bus, and he was going to film a cameo in a soap opera. And I don't know if you've seen a soap opera, but there's some attractive women in soap operas, and apparently Donald Trump felt that they were attractive also, and decided to discuss with Billy Bush, who was he like the what was he?
Okay,
Like
it was
a host.
Yeah, it was like a TV show, a Hollywood extra type of TV show, and Trump was going to meet this woman to do a cameo
Right.
in a soap opera. So Billy Bush was.
He's like the host.
Yeah, he was the host. He was the tag along, the help out, the intro, the meetup guy. This Billy Bush
And by the
got
way,
Trump to meet
it's not
with
a
her.
coincidence that his name's Bush. He actually is a cousin of the president, former president. So he is actually a Bush.
A Bush.
Yeah. When I heard the name Bush, I said, well, I better have his full name because I don't want people to think that he's a Bush. Actually, he is a Bush.
Or that he's affiliated with Busch Gardens.
Oh, yeah. It's not B-U-S-C-H. It's actually B-U-S-H, as in, yes,
Busch
that Bush.
Gardens.
No. That's B-U-S. What is your major malfunction? We need that sound bite.
Oh, okay.
Is that a jelly donut?
Oh, wow. You got the keys all sticky. So, anywho.
So, basically, Trump had some colorful language that he was discussing in private with Billy Bush, and Billy Bush was kind of playing along, and Brian and I are going to go ahead and tell you what we think of it. But do you have a censored version? Because, it's colorful language in it. No?
I think so.
Okay. So we're going to
If
play.
it's not.
We apologize. You might want to turn the kids away.
This whole show is not really going to be suited for the kids just because of so many words that are
Even if you
thrown
bleep
around.
it out. Even if you bleep it out.
You know what it is.
Yeah, so it's not really kid-friendly. But go ahead.
She used to be very. She's still very beautiful. I moved on her, actually. She was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
Huge news there.
No, Nancy.
That wasn't
Not the censored-
That was
that's
not the censored version. Wow.
You don't have the censored version?
She's still very beautiful. I moved on her, actually.
Okay.
She was down in Palm Beach.
Huge news there.
No, Nancy. No, this was.
You're
And
gonna
I
hear some
moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch, but I couldn't get there.
Now stop
And
it
she
real
was
quick
married.
there.
Then all of a sudden.
He said, I moved in on her like a bitch. Now, for those of you who've never been in these kind of conversations before, you have to really think about what he's talking about in context. He's calling himself a bitch. He's not calling this woman a bitch. He moved in on her like a bitch and failed.
Right.
So he's
guys,
calling himself.
and guys will do that. And,
Well,
and
not very often. I actually admire the fact that he's self-deprecating.
Well,
here.
right.
You know,
And I just want to let all the female listeners know that Carrie's a guy and proclaims to be a guy. So he wears his guyness on him.
Plus, I am not good at lying at all.
I've tried to get I've tried to teach him
Yeah, I'm not
how to
good at lying.
like method act, not lie, but method act, and it just doesn't work.
I just don't like it. It makes me recoil. I would rather say something that's really embarrassing, that's true, than to save the embarrassment to lie.
Right.
It's just the way my brain works. Most people will be like, "Ooh, wow, I'm not going to say the truth here because, whew,
Right,
a little
it's-
embarrassing."
And so I'm a guy, and I wear that on my guy self. So you're women right now. You're listening to two grown men who have come up. Well, we both went to public schools. We both got our sex education from other people in school, and at times, when you're in the locker room, and I know it keeps being thrown around locker room. Women, I'm telling you right now, you would never, ever want to be in the men's locker room ever for any reason. I'm not lying. And for Jake Tapper to say that he was in a fraternity, he's been in many locker rooms, and he's never I've never heard words like that.
Oh my God! Do you have audio of that?
I got
Well,
Jake,
but
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
But my whole point is just boys, men are men, boys are boys, and we are infantile when we get around each other. And
It's true.
Just like
it's true.
Just like the mob effect. When the mob effect happens, people start doing things they wouldn't normally do. It's a guy effect. Guys,
and we wouldn't do it if it didn't make whoever's listening to us laugh.
Right. Okay, my brother is a couple years younger. My brother's your age. So my brother, Carrie, and me, the three of us, the three amigos, going out on the town for a night. Good Lord, women. Close your ears.
Well, you know what it boils down to? This is what it boils down to. For whatever reason, good or bad, ask God for forgiveness afterwards. When this stuff is being discussed, it happens to be entertaining to a lot of guys. That's why it is said in the first place. We don't say boring stuff to each other. We try to entertain each other. That's how we bond and become friends and make friendships and stuff like that. Because if what Brian would say to me all the time bored the hell out of me, I probably would eventually kind of, not hang around with him that much.
Dude, we create our entertainment, and guys always try to one-up another guy.
Right.
It's part of the game.
And if they do it successfully, it's funny.
Oh, it's huge props. Even if you one-upped me and it was hysterical,
right.
It's not a put-down.
And
it's just
the way,
hysterical.
Hyperbole is how we do it. Hyperbole is hilarious. It's got to be something that's so over the top that you didn't even think of going there, type of thing.
Right.
And that's when it becomes funny, which is what you're going to hear here. You're actually going to hear Trump doing this very thing in this audio.
And I see her. She's now got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
Jeez, your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes!
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald is good.
Whoa!
Okay, they're in the bus pulling
They're still
up
in the bus, yeah.
and they can see through the windows the woman that's the star, this woman that they're going to meet.
And that's who they're talking about when they're like high-fiving each other, right?
Right.
There. Okay.
Oh, my man. Wait, you got to look at me when you get out.
Set this up.
That is very.
You give me the thumbs
Look
up.
at you. You are a.
You got to put the thumbs up. You got to get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy.
So it is an entire the bus. That only men are inside the bus. It sounds like more than one.
And Donald Trump would be way the senior in this situation,
Oh, yeah.
where Billy Bush would be pretty young, relatively speaking. Donald Trump being 59 at the time,
Billy Bush looked like he was in his 30s.
possibly. So
Late 30s.
But I'm trying to imagine the dynamic here. They probably think it's hilarious that this guy's talking this way at his age, and Donald Trump probably is getting a huge ego boost that people way younger than him are looking at him in this way.
Still connecting. He still got a connection to him.
This guy still got it. At 59, this guy's still got it, and I'm sure that whatever.
There's guys that I work with.
Women listening to us right now.
Don't get it.
You're getting an inside. This is way inside. If you don't know guys, you're getting an education right now.
And if you're saying that's not my man,
oh my goodness.
no,
Oh my
sorry.
goodness.
But don't worry. It's not a bad thing.
There's nothing
It's just a
wrong
man, and it's extremely harmless. It doesn't mean anything. It means he's a man. That's all it means.
All right.
Yeah, let me.
It's very funny.
You got to give me the thumbs up.
You and I will walk there.
Oh, my God.
Maybe it's a different one.
Better not be the publicist. No, it's her.
Yeah, that's her with the gold. I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything.
All right, so that's the big controversial thing. All right, so let's break this down so that people can understand. If you're a guy, you already know this, so don't lie and act like you don't. He said I just start kissing on him, which, by the way, he does greet her. He comes out. This is all on video. You can watch this. He comes out and greets her, and he does the really civilized, gentlemanly cheek kiss where both parties do the.
Hold on, before that happens, he actually just shook her hand.
Yeah, he didn't even reach in for the
kiss.
kiss.
And Billy
right.
Bush said, hey, this is the Don.
He was doing the wingman.
Yeah, he was doing the wingman. He's helping Don close the deal.
Right.
He's like, hey, this is the Don. Give him a hug.
He definitely was trying to be somewhat of a wingman there. And so he does, like family members. When I see my aunt that I haven't seen in a long time, and do the cheek kiss thing or whatever, right? And that's exactly what he did. He didn't go in for anything more than the very civilized, really polite, gentlemanly, where you touch your cheek to her cheek and you make the kissing sound. You don't even touch her with your lips. You make the kissing sound and you just touch her cheek, kind of like that French thing where they do both sides of the face type thing.
Yeah, Frenchie.
Not French kissing, but
No.
you touch each side of their
Well,
cheek.
if we were CNN, we would report it's a French style kiss.
Okay,
which could be a French kiss. That's if we were CNN. That's how we would be reporting it.
Yeah, because
he French kisses women.
We want if we were CNN, we would want the listener to get the wrong idea, as long as that idea is part of our narrative.
Correct.
That's the way CNN. Okay, so as far as grabbing the expletive that we had to play because there is no.
I apologize,
beeper.
folks.
Yeah,
there's a bleeper on some of the other audio clips that we have.
And yeah. So here's the thing. He said, when you're famous, you can get away with stuff, and one of the things that you get, he didn't word it this way, and there's a very specific reason why he didn't word it this way. The reason he didn't word it that way is because here comes the big hilarious hyperbole, which was you can grab her in the crotch, but he uses the expletive.
Right. Everybody's using that expletive.
That was the hyperbole that was going to get the laugh.
Right. That's the only reason why he said, "Hey, man, you can grab him right in the." Right. The reason why I said that is because of the reaction that he got.
He was trying to get a reaction,
and he got what he got. Everybody laughed.
They all laughed.
It's hysterical.
If they took him literally, this is the truth, because when I first read the reports on all the liberal publications, my first thought when I read that was, ooh, is Donald really that weird and creepy? That's not anything I would have said. That's exactly my reaction. And so I thought, oh gosh, how's he going to get past this? This just doesn't seem, man, there's something wrong with him if he really said this. Well, it turns out he really said it, but in context, it was the hyperbole that was supposed to get the laugh. It's not literal, because if the people that were listening to him took it literally, I'm talking about the people that were present, that he was talking to.
Billy Bush and the likes.
If they took it literally, they would immediately needle ripped off the record. They would have shut up and said, whoa, Donald,
dude,
maybe we better wrap this up.
I'm
not down with that. But they didn't take it literally because they all knew it was a hyperbolous joke.
Right. Well, you don't joke about that, Carrie. You're talking about
trigger alert.
Women. You're talking about female privates. It's their privates.
Let me assure you that he would not have said that if he was under these certain circumstances. Number one, if the woman or any woman in question, if the woman period was in earshot, he would not have said that. Number two, if he was with a guy that he wasn't getting pretty comfortable with in the conversation, like maybe a stranger was nearby, if there were any children nearby, if your children are nearby, even if they are an adult.
Yes.
Because let me tell you something.
We talked about this yesterday.
My dad doesn't talk to me about this stuff, but me and Brian and my brother, my brother and I, Stephen and I, all my cousins, all the ones that I'm really close with. I mean, sometimes we get in these conversations. You kind of talk about what's going on with your love life and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes it gets a little bit stuff that you wouldn't say outside of a locker room.
And women, when you have a problem with your man and you need somebody to talk to, and you talk to your girlfriend, don't you think you don't talk and you just say stuff that you wouldn't say in front of your mom or at church?
Right.
My wife has told me things that she has said. I was shocked.
Like, you guys talk like that? And I'm not saying
But it's not all the time. Women are more clean about it and not vulgar. Guys can be a little bit more vulgar, and
they could be really vulgar because they know that the guys that are listening to them aren't going to care. That's why they get vulgar. They just want to get the point across,
right?
Without having to beat around the bush.
And we're not talking about Busch Gardens.
And we're not talking about double entente either.
Never.
Anyway.
Never.
Or beat around the Billy Bush.
So it's Billy's fault.
No, I'm not blaming. And
no,
by the way,
we are not going to put blame on no one.
Well, a whole bunch of liberal publications went out there and said that Trump blamed it all on Billy. Which is an absolute bold-faced lie. And here's another thing. Trump was talking about grabbing whatever expletive as a hyperbolous joke, right?
Right.
He didn't do that, right? It wasn't an action. The reason he didn't do that is because you don't do that.
No, guys.
And he knows that.
Right.
Which is what made it so funny.
Right.
Because you don't do that, you know? It's like when Tommy Boy talks about jerking the wheel into oncoming traffic.
You might. It's funny.
He didn't do it.
No, you wouldn't do it.
And you know why it was funny when he said it? Because you don't do that, and he wasn't going to do that. You know he wasn't going to do that.
And we joke all the time about running into a bridge abutment.
Yeah. Do you see people out there who, I don't know, maybe they had a loved one die in an auto accident and say, you know what, Brian, you really shouldn't be talking about riding into a bridge abutment because it's just not right. Which bridge abutment did you run into, Brian? Because I want to see the wreckage and I want to see.
No, dude, there's jokes. There's jokes for the masses.
I'm telling you. Yeah, it's like comedians have been saying, you just can't have a career anymore.
Somebody
can't have any jokes.
When I was young, before I knew enough, we were cracking on some guy. A guy was cracking on me, and it turned to mom jokes or something. And
your mama joke.
Yeah, your mama. Yeah, because that was popular.
Take that literally, right?
It was popular back in the day. Yo, mama's so fat, she sits around the house.
By the way, your mama,
the whole South,
that your friends are talking about being so fat, could be skinny as a rail. That's not the point.
Okay, so he looked at me and he said, "Dude, my mom's dead."
Ouch.
Nah, man, just kidding. I got you.
Oh, man. See?
That got me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whatever. You don't know. You don't. Anyway, okay, so Trump, after all this went down, this was 11 years ago. This happened in the state of California, and that's very, very important to know.
That is interesting because I don't know much about California, but Brian does.
The laws in California state that if you're recording somebody, the person being recorded must know about the recording.
Yeah, but isn't consent assumed because he put a mic on him?
So they claimed, but you could have mics on you, they're not be on.
Yeah.
You don't know that the mic's on.
Okay, let me support your point here. If you call somebody on the phone and you say, we're recording this call for quality purposes.
Yeah, they've been notified.
Okay, that's fine. But anything you said before you say that is probably not allowed to be used for anything.
Correct. I see where you're going.
Yeah, only the stuff after. It's kind of like you have the right to remain silent. If you said anything incriminating before they said your Miranda rights,
right,
that shouldn't be used in the court of law. So that's why I'm thinking, if you're recording somebody, let's say you got 10 minutes of audio, but the first 2 whole minutes you didn't say, oh, by the way, I'm recording this. Are you okay with that? That first 2 minutes couldn't be used.
Okay, I see where you're going with this, and I understand that. The producer that produced this whole thing made a comment and said, oh, yeah, I remembered something from back in the day. Let me go into my archives, my files. So he went back into his files and his archives. He's like, yeah, I remember Trump saying, I got this on audio. At that point in time, that guy should know automatically that by him bringing it up would be controversial in the fact that he did not have, may or may not have known he was being Trump was being recorded.
Right.
It can be argued in court.
Right. You could say, oh, I know I was watching him put the mic on me, but nobody told me it was on. But regardless, it's one of those things.
And when you're being mic'd up, meaning somebody comes to you and they put the mic in the wire, they mic you up. A lot of times, they mic you up and they don't turn on the battery pack just because they don't want to wear out.
Right.
And at the last minute, they'll run up behind you where the pack is in your belt and they'll make sure it's on.
Well, and let's be real here. If somebody puts a mic on you, you still have to assume that in a state where you have to be notified when you're being recorded, at some point between the time that the mic is on you and the time that it's obvious that you're being recorded, that somebody should say, oh, by the way, your mic is hot and it's being recorded.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely hot mic.
So putting the mic on somebody is not automatic.
And the fact of them joking around in the bus and nobody says, hey, mics are hot.
Yeah, Billy probably had no idea.
I'm sure.
Billy probably had no clue that his mic was hot.
Right. Okay, so yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, he said what he said. You can't take away what he said. You can't unring the bell.
Right.
But I think it's important because this is much ado about nothing, really. I mean, this is locker room talk. All these guys out there, even Kurt Schilling, I'm so disappointed. Kurt Schilling's one of these guys that pretty much got fired for being a conservative and has supported Trump for a really long time, came out like right away in one of his live periscopes and said that no guy should be talking about women this way. Oh, my gosh.
Dude,
totally.
go to a baseball locker room and see how that goes down.
Yeah, the guy was in sports his entire life.
Remember when they first started letting women reporters into the men's locker room?
Oh, my gosh.
Dudes were walking out of the shower with their genitalia hanging to the floor, standing right in front of these little thin-railed female reporters.
Yeah. Right.
Just, you would talk about intimidation. Yeah. Oh, you want to be in the locker room? You'll be with us?
It was portrayed in, I think, Any Given Sunday when Jamie Foxx came out in front of one of the reporters.
Yes.
It's
sure. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a throwback movie. It was a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good.
That was Al Pacino.
Al Pacino did really well.
Yeah. So Jamie Foxx it was portrayed in that movie very well. He comes out full frontal and does the interview with the woman with nothing on.
Right. Like right in front of her. Walked up to her.
Yeah, she was interviewing.
Yeah, right. Almost could not get closer without touching her.
Okay. Whatever. So the point is...
Could have touched her.
Okay. So the point is that it's not about objectifying women. It's about two guys in a situation where they thought it was just the two of them trying to entertain each other. That's basically all it is.
Right.
And until you come out with some sort of evidence that he would actually, that what he was saying was a literal description of something that he's done, it's nothing. This is nothing.
Well, you're wrong. According to Megyn Kelly.
Let's hear some audios.
According to Megyn Kelly in Fox News, she just couldn't get out of her way to get involved in this.
Also breaking tonight, just 48 hours out from the next presidential debate, and the Trump campaign is in full damage control mode.
Oh, of course, full
damage control mode. So full damage control mode means?
Well, if you react to anything that raises any eyebrows, you're now in full damage control.
Sunday.
Following a troubling story broken by the Washington Post today.
Oh, by the way, there was another news outlet that had this audio and sat on it for like 24 to 48 hours. And apparently the Washington Post decided to run with it.
Oh, so it was Washington Post that decided this WikiLeaks thing, we're feeling too much pressure.
Because, by the way, folks,
yeah,
WikiLeaks broke Friday
Everybody knows that the Trump audio scandal is the smokescreen to help alleviate the absolute bombshell that is WikiLeaks.
Damage control. Right. The Trump video is damage control for Hillary.
Full damage.
For Hillary.
Hours ago, the Post publishing a report along with video of Mr. Trump and NBC's Billy Bush discussing women in what can only be described as vulgar and lewd terms. The video is from 2005. It appears the men did not realize they were being recorded at the time.
The
hold on.
humanity.
She was honest. She said it appears, in a court of law, it appears the men did not realize they were being recorded. In California, even if this producer is sued in court and loses,
He needs to prove.
the bell's already been rung.
Yeah, the bell's
And he's
been
taking
rung.
that chance to run with it.
It's kind of like when you introduce evidence to a jury that's been stricken from the record. They've seen it. They can't unsee the evidence.
Right.
The only way to fix it is to completely replace the jury.
Correct.
Although clearly they were wearing microphones. Nevertheless, it is causing major controversy tonight, including a call released just moments ago by Republican Senator Mark Kirk asking.
Have you ever heard of Mark Kirk?
I just saw a tweet. I never heard of him until he had the controversial tweet, in which I slammed him, but whatever.
For Donald Trump to drop out of this race.
Okay, if that were to happen, that means Hillary Clinton wins. Flat out,
It's
a
too
dropout is Hillary Clinton
Can we
wins.
talk about this for a second?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I was thinking about this. You got to put this in context. I teased this earlier, so it's time to talk about it. This is a big question for everybody, for Brian, for the audience. By the way, it's the first time I'm going to be questioning this to Brian. He hasn't had a chance to digest this question.
I didn't get the questions before the show.
Yes,
no, I did not.
I am about to drop one on.
Drop some knowledge.
Yeah, and also for everybody listening at home, how many days do we have left? This isn't the question. This is the prep question. How many days left until the election?
35, 4. Something.
So it's about exactly a month or so. I think it was less, isn't it? What's the date today?
9th.
Okay, so exactly a month, because on
20,
November 8th.
Yeah,
it's exactly a month. Okay, so given that there's exactly a month left until the election, assuming that you agree with me that nobody is going to be able to get enough support in that short amount of time to unseat Hillary Clinton if Trump were to either drop out or get replaced or something like that.
Not possible.
Here's the question.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
What does Trump have to do short of dropping out in order for you to not vote for him? And I'll give you an example. If evidence came out that proved that he murdered somebody, actually murdered somebody. And
how many?
Well, just one person.
How long ago?
Does it really matter? There's no statute of limitation on murder. Let's just say it was a couple years ago. And there's concrete empirical evidence. That's just one example. Some people may answer it with, well, I would not vote for him if this came out about him or this. I started going through and doing the mental, what do they call it? The thought experiment. Right. I did the thought experiment with this. Now, what we're talking about here is Hillary Clinton. What are the consequences of Hillary Clinton being elected?
Devastating.
Well, okay. She's going to replace the Supreme Court.
She would be the rapture.
Yeah, well, she would replace the Supreme Court with enough justices to abolish the Second Amendment, very highly limit the First Amendment. Highly limit the First Amendment.
Oh, WikiLeaks dropped a letter, a bomb?
Yeah.
She is caught in a letter saying she will use executive order to remove the Second Amendment.
There you go. Okay.
I just remember
she
that.
She won't need it. This is
because she has seen what Obama's done with executive orders.
Right, but here's the thing about executive orders. As soon as the next president comes in, it could just be reversed. Here's what she's going to do to get rid of the Second Amendment. I'm just going to keep this brief because I want everybody to answer the question as what Trump would have to do in order for you to not vote for him this far out. Now, 6 months ago, I would have been like, oh, yeah, if this came out about him or something like that or whatever came out about him, I would support some other Republican primary candidate or whatever. But 30 days out, he could probably go out and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. Flat out. And the reason is this. The question was posed, what happens to America? How devastating is it that a murderer or whatever, a liar, adulterer, a bad person gets put in? Who would put conservatives on the Supreme Court or whatever? And somebody would say, well, what about if we caught him in known lies? And we are now convinced that everything that he said to us is lies, including putting conservative Supreme Court justices in, stuff like that. But the consequences of Hillary becoming president are that we're going to have multiple generations long after we're dead. We're talking our kids and our grandkids. We'll have to grow up in a country where there is no right to bear arms, and they could be put in prison by the government for certain speech it could be hate speech. And what gets labeled hate speech? Well, whatever you label hate speech will then be tried as hate speech, and you could end up in prison for it.
Absolutely.
There's a guy in prison right now for making a video that was conveniently blamed for the start of the Benghazi terrorist attack on September 11th a couple of years ago. 2012.
Government said they released him. He's homeless.
Is he released?
He's living on the streets. He's homeless.
Living on the streets? Okay.
Homeless.
Okay, so he's no longer in prison?
That was the last report I heard, that he was homeless. Because they wanted to report the homelessness of it.
Do you have a home if you're in prison?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I guess that's like Taj Mahal.
It's your crib.
So what do you think? Think about it. The consequences of Hillary being president and the ability for us to prevent her to become president requires Trump to be voted for. What could he possibly do to keep people from voting for him this late in the game? Barring him being removed or that he drops out voluntarily.
Yeah.
If he's in the race, he's on all the ballots. There's 30 days out.
My scenario would be vote for Trump or vote for nobody, but voting for nobody would vote
Hillary.
Vote for Hillary.
She will be the next president if Donald Trump is not. Period.
I'm sorry, folks. I stand by every word that I have ever said on this show. Right, wrong, indifferent. I cannot think of a single thing that Trump could do or would be exposed about Trump that would stop me from voting none of the above. Because I couldn't ever pull it for Hillary, but to vote none of the above?
At this point.
There's no possible...
It has to be Trump. Yeah. Because if there are no other... And here's my point, in case you voted differently. If for no other reason, you've got to be able to say, we have to stop Hillary. For the love of the Constitution. This is no longer about Trump.
No.
This is about the Constitution. This is about America, the U.S. This is about liberty and freedom and all the things that you get when you adhere to the Constitution. And I'm not saying that Trump is this perfect constitutionalist, that he would be like...
No, none of us are. No, I'm sorry. None of us are perfect.
That's true.
No.
Yeah, none of us are perfect. Even Ted Cruz. I still think that there is legit questions about his constitutional eligibility.
Apparently, he might even lose his seat. Insiders say.
Insiders say.
Insiders say there's a possibility he may be unseated.
Yeah, so all these people that are talking about, hey, I'm a theoretical constitutionalist. We got to do it exact. And that requires Ted Cruz. Oh, yeah, really? Well, what about the eligibility requirements? Anyway, so that being said, this isn't about Trump. This is about defeating Hillary. This is about what Trump would do as opposed to what Hillary would do as president. Mainly, that you got to keep Hillary out of office. And no matter what, we talked at the beginning of the show, what kind of power she has now that she never had before. Not as Secretary of State, not as first lady, not even as the de facto president of the United States when Bill Clinton tried to convince us that you get a 2-for-1 when you vote for him back in '92.
Right.
Yeah, he was actually making that argument.
Yeah,
you get a 2-for-1. You get 2 presidents for the price of 1.
Yikes.
Yeah, he actually was saying that. That was his argument back in '92.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to vote for Trump no matter what. There is nothing left on the table that could be. There's no October surprise. This is a lot different.
No. Yeah.
It's a lot different.
Usually, see, you've got these politicians for years and years and years, and I started looking back at some of the old tapes of Nixon and some of the other presidents on film that knew they were being filmed. And you can tell they're very polished.
Right.
They're very politician-like. They're very politically correct, politically astute. They speak as if they want to speak to everyone as a whole, and as I speak to you today.
Yeah, like the deplorable, the basket of deplorables.
You would they would never have said basket of deplorables. And it was also a no-no to really, call your opponent a liar, cheat, and a liar.
That was a word that was so off limits.
And you want to know why? Because they're all cheats and liars.
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way. I just thought that there was this firewall of civility that gets broken.
They all knew that there are things that in their mind. Oh, there's things that we must do that the public cannot know about.
Did you hear? It may have been WikiLeaks. We're changing subjects all of a sudden.
Well, we're blending it.
Yeah, blend it all together. So WikiLeaks came out with some email from Clinton that said, well, there's a public policy.
Oh, right.
And then there's a private policy.
See, I didn't make this up, folks.
You need to have 2 different policies.
Right. And so Hillary just proved my point.
Oh, my gosh. She pretty much said that in order to be a politician, an effective one, you absolutely have to lie to the people. You have to lie to them at all times. And what does that mean? Is it really lying when you have a public and a private policy? I'll say yes, and here's why. The reason why you have admitted that you are a liar when you say that there's a public policy and there's a private policy is because what does public mean? Public means that you are saying it to the public or you're releasing it to them either orally or through websites or press releases or whatever, right?
Correct.
That's what you're saying. Privately is not what you're saying, but what you're doing. And you're specifically not saying, right? So private policy means this is what you're doing. Public is what you're saying. But if public and private are different, then you're not doing the public. You can't do the public because you're doing the private. And by definition, when you knowingly make false statements to people, by definition, you're lying.
Right.
And you are a liar.
Correct.
And so Hillary Clinton's a liar. And you know what? I'm sorry to say this to all my listeners out there, but her voters don't care. In fact, her voters like the fact that she's such an effective liar, just like they like the fact that Bill Clinton, her husband, was such an effective liar.
It's that same emotion-driven that the people cheered and rallied around O.J. Simpson.
Ooh, interesting. Because he
did it.
It's not that he got off because he personally lied, but it was a lie that he was innocent.
Correct. And they cheered and rallied around him because, finally we stick it to the man. We finally get... Okay, well, now fast forward to Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton. The crazies that support her and him, if you support Bill Clinton right now, you are openly supporting a serial rapist.
Yeah, this guy's terrible.
Serial
we need
rapist.
to explain to them why it matters, because people will say, hey, Brian, Bill Clinton's not running for president.
He will be the first lady.
Well, that's a more minor reason why we don't vote for Hillary, that he'll be the first lady. Wow, he's gender bending.
Well, according to Wiki, that's all we have to say from now on. Not Wikipedia anymore. According to Wiki, WikiLeaks. No, this whole thing that Bill Clinton will now be back in the White. Well, look at if you go back in history, go to the Google, go back in history and see how much influence Hillary Clinton had on individuals while Clinton was president. She literally was coming out with her own health care. She wasn't voted.
She was supposed to come out with universal health care.
And then North American Trade Agreement.
Oh, NAFTA.
Yeah, NAFTA. She championed that. And she went around selling it to everybody and selling this and selling it. I'm telling you, folks, she was knee-deep in everything, literally controlling behind the scenes, in the scenes. Bill, Wilbur, William. Wilbur. There's different names that you call
earlier,
Bill.
He said you're getting 2 for 1. So before he even became president, he was pretty much saying, look, guys, she's definitely going to have some roles here.
Oh, yeah. I make no bones about it. He said it before and I'll say it again, you know?
Well, here's the big reason why it matters that he is a serial rapist, serial pedophile, serial everything. He is, abused women for his entire life.
What about her abusing women as well?
Right. It matters. Sure, he's not running. We're not voting for her, and he could be the worst person in the world. He could even be the devil himself. But there's 2 things. Number one, that's her choice of a husband. All right, that's number one. But the big reason is that she was a part of the whole scheme of abusing women. You are a part of it, not just because you enabled him, but because you were a part of the big fight to discredit and to the victims, discredit the victims.
Absolutely.
And how do you make sure that these victims are unsuccessful at getting and obtaining justice? Well, discrediting them is one thing, which nobody wants to be discredited. People want to be heard. If you have a grievance, that's true. You want people to be able to hear it and believe you. And it's funny because didn't she come out with the rallying cry for women that if you're a victim of sexual crime, you have a right to be believed?
You know that's been taken down from her website.
It has to be. Even Glenn Beck and Stu and all those idiots over there on the Blaze, they said on Friday, can you believe the gall of her? Is there ever been, and I think they actually said this, that this is the biggest disconnect between what is said and what is reality that they've ever seen in their life. Because she's coming out and acting like she didn't actually do this herself, which is make sure that nobody heard the allegations or didn't believe the allegations.
Well, I don't have the soundbite from Jake Tapper, but Jake Tapper was having a back and forth with Rudy Giuliani.
Oh, wait, I thought you had that.
I have the audio of them going back and forth, but I don't have the actual audio at the end of it where they get into the dialogue of Giuliani says, Hey, Hillary Clinton covered. Hillary Clinton
happened to it?
Messed all this. She was part and parcel of all these rape allegations, putting the women down. And Jake Tapper's like, I don't know that to be fact.
Yeah, we don't know if that's fact. And
Jakey, come on,
well,
Jake
Giuliani,
the Snake.
Giuliani was just beside himself. He's like, are you like the only one that doesn't believe this? I mean, everybody knows this is not up for opinion. Everybody knows that she headed up the bimbo eruptions, which for those of you younger people that don't know, basically what happened was, this is how bad it was with Bill, that women started coming out of the woodworks and saying, hey, Bill had an affair with me, or Bill sexually assaulted me, or I received unwanted advancements from Bill, or he just brutally raped me and bit me until I was bleeding and whatever.
Oh, that did happen, by the way, folks. That
right,
happened.
absolutely. And so what happened is the number of women that were coming in and making these accusations were so numerous that they called it a bimbo eruption. Like, imagine a volcano, but instead of lava shooting out of the top of this thing, it's actually victims of Bill's sexual predator behavior.
And if you don't believe,
and they're calling them bimbos. This is not. I don't. If it's a media term, it's a liberal media term. Obviously, they were trying to discredit and demonize the women by calling them bimbos. And in fact, who's the guy that said drag $1 through a trailer park?
Oh, yes.
Whatever his name is.
Yikes. Bit much there. Well, the thing is that even to this day, if and there's
James Carville. James Carville said that. Yeah.
Oh, last week, Bill Clinton was doing a rally, and it's a very small number. I'm telling you, folks, there's less than 500 people showing up to any of these rallies for Hillary Clinton
more than 500.
or for Bill Clinton. And I think
that's amazing.
For Chelsea showed up, and it was like 20.
Well, yeah.
If people knew that you and I met with Ivanka and they knew the time and the place,
it would have been pandemonium.
Yeah, we'd have had to have the cops. Yeah, we had an inside little meeting with Ivanka.
Yeah, when we were joking because Ivanka. If you look at I think I may have put it up on our Twitter. She came into our little volunteer place downtown Cincinnati, and it was awesome because, but just her look. You have to kind of know what you're looking for to be like, oh my gosh, it's a fucking Trump,
Right.
We were joking that she could probably, if she played it off good enough and dressed just right, she could probably walk unescorted through downtown Cincinnati, and maybe somebody would be. We both agreed that people would look at her and say, wow, that girl's tall, or wow, look how attractive that girl is, or something like that. But that. You might not get the, oh my gosh, that's Ivanka. So it was kind of a funny thing, and it was a fun little.
Just real quick, let me go over a couple of women that have been assaulted.
Goodness.
Yeah, there's a woman by the name of Eileen Wellstone. She's an English woman who said Bill Clinton assaulted her after meeting him at a pub near Oxford.
This was in Britain, by the way.
Yeah.
Oxford's in Britain,
right.
So he was actually attending classes at Oxford University in England.
Dolly Kyle Browning, high school friend, who said Bill paid her for booty calls holy smokes, for 30 years.
What?
She said he gave her money. She'd show up and he'd give her money.
Okay.
Sally Perdue. Oh, she was the former Miss Arkansas. We've talked about her. Sally Perdue, former Miss Arkansas. When Bill Clinton was governor, actually, this goes back during his college years. She hooked up with him during his college years, and Hillary found out about it when they were dating. And Hillary just, the daggers, the knives, the evilness. She goes into the whole interview about how evil Hillary was. And that even when Bill became governor, he would sneak over to her place, dress up in her nightie, and like do a little dance or play a saxophone. She said he wasn't really good in bed, but he was a lot of fun to hang out with.
I could see that. I think that back when I was younger, if I could go through a time machine, because there's a big age difference between Bill and I. But if we were the same age and went back to younger years, I think it'd be a blast to hang around with him.
Yeah.
I just don't want him to be my president. Okay?
And I don't want him babysitting my kids.
Absolutely not. But you could just take one look at him and know that he is not babysitter material.
No, correct. Susie, a woman by the name of Susie Whitridge, press aide. Bill was rumored to be had an affair with her. Another woman by Connie Hasme. A groupie mentioned in American Band, propositioned by Bill while poolside before he was president.
Okay.
So Juanita Broderick, which is now a famous one that's come out.
She's the one that was raped?
She was a campaign volunteer that said Bill raped her at the convention in Little Rock, Arkansas, 1978. Sandra Aline James, political fundraiser, said Bill pinned her to the wall, groped her in the area that Trump was joking about.
So when it comes to... That's why the liberals believe that he was saying that literally.
Because they do it.
Or at least their president does. Right. Their former president, Bill Clinton, actually goes ahead and grabs.
Kathleen Willey said Bill Clinton sexually assaulted her when she asked him for a job. She said, can I get a job?
Oh, I saw that interview. Oh, that was so tough. So she was at the so she knows the president of the United States through her volunteering in Arkansas. But at the time, he was currently the president.
Okay.
She went to the White House because she had hit rock bottom. And
she knew him as governor.
Yeah.
Now he's president.
She goes to the White House because she was destitute at this point and thought, maybe there's a chance that he can give me a job somewhere, like just
because I knew it.
Yeah, just something. Give me something to where I can have an income. I'm really at the bottom of the barrel. And she was crying and whatnot, like literally crying. And when Bill saw this, Bill said, "Oh, this is too easy," and so he just couldn't help himself.
No.
He decided to take advantage of the fact that there was nothing that she could do to stop him from just viciously, sexually assaulting her. Because she was that desperate that, what is she going to do? What could she do? And he knew that. He knew that there was nothing. It's like kind of like when you're playing chess and you make kind of a bold move, but when you look at all the counters that they could do, you realize you can get away with it.
Right. Right,
and that's exactly what
especially when you see a woman who's destitute and basically has no money, nowhere to go, nobody to turn to. She turns to you.
What was her move? If he decided, you know what, I know we're not, and of course she thought she was safe. They're in the executive office of the White House.
How could you not be safe in the White House? You're in the White House.
So he decided, oh, watch this. She don't even see this coming.
This is coming from left field. She has no clue.
And what is she going to do about it? And so he couldn't help himself. That's the character of the people you're dealing with. And by the way, just for those of you that may or may not know any differently, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there because, I hate to prejudge, but I would say it's pretty safe to say that this is not just exclusively a Bill Clinton thing. I think it's a liberal ideology thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It attracts bad people, and bad people are attracted to liberal ideology, and what you end up with is the bottom of the barrel. And it is what it is. And so, when you get people and I'm talking about the leaders in the Democrat. I mean, here's the thing about the liberal ideology that attracts the total scumbags. All right. So what liberal ideology is this? We pretty much tell you what we're going to give you and tell you if you want that stuff, you vote for us. And what we do with that power is just enrich ourselves. And then we just give you the scraps. And we tell you that this is critical because without it, you would starve in the streets. It's very devious.
Oh, you're going to die.
You have to be a bad person to say, you know what? You mean I can get fame and fortune and power doing that? Oh, I'm on board. And then they project. They see somebody like Trump come along and they're like, whoa. We can't let him take all the power because look what he's going to do with it. They're just projecting the bad character of their own people onto Trump. Trump's like, hey, look what you guys are doing. I'm going to put an end to this. And I believe him.
I don't know if we talked about it on a show, but we've talked about it off the show, certainly. But we've said to each other that in 4 years, I mean, obviously Trump can't turn it around in 4 years. But if Trump,
you never know.
If Trump turned this thing around in 4 years, I honestly, and I agree with Kerry because it was your idea, but I agree 100%, Trump would say, okay, guys, all right, We've got this thing on the right track, the right course. I'm done here. No, second. No need for me for second term. Okay, I'm going to give it back to you. Here, take the reins. I've done what I've done. Follow this blueprint.
I'll take it one step further. You ready for this? I think it should be his very first State of the Union address. He should lay out however many points he wants to accomplish.
Right.
Build a wall. Abolish the Department of
IRS.
It could be the IRS. I don't know if he's harped too much on that. One thing that he never says, but it's on his website, or at least it was last time I checked it, that he wants to get rid of the Department of Education.
Oh,
which
amen.
I think is the most important thing. You could say anything about any issue in the world. I think right now the most pressing one is we've got to get rid of the number one source of liberal propaganda, and that is the Department of Education propagandizing our children to grow up to be liberals.
Right. It
Simple
is.
as that. But
It's insane. I've run into kids now in high school that are the
Oh,
words that are coming
millennials.
out of their mouth.
Millennials.
Right.
All millennials.
The
They've
words
all
that are
been
coming out of their
brainwashed.
mouth it doesn't make any. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't jive.
Yeah,
bro,
we're the
you
last
have no
generation.
clue. We're
We're the last generation that was not. We did get some liberal propaganda and all that, but okay, I got off on a tangent. So here's the State of the Union address. He tells the Congress, these are the things that I want to accomplish, and if you guys don't oppose me and you help me to get these things done by passing whatever we need to pass to get them done, to fix the Constitution, fix the government, put us on a path to getting rid of the debt. That'll be a big one. Have a surplus or whatever. I will step down after 4 years. I think if you were to say that, there might be a lot of congressmen that are like, even Democrats will be like, oh my gosh, we can get rid of
Really?
this guy in 4 years.
Okay, well, let's do what he says.
Yeah, they may be a lot. I don't know, man.
It's a long shot.
A smart communist Democrat is not going to give up the Department of Education. That
No,
is the
they've
source
got
of their gravy.
right.
You want to know the source of what the hell has happened to America in the past 50 years? It all is coming from the Department of Education.
Right. And so have you ever heard of Christy Zinger? Yeah, flight attendant. Said Bill exposed herself and groped her on a campaign plane in 92.
Totally believable.
I believe you pronounce her name Lencola Sullivan.
Okay.
Was named as Bill's mistress during the Monica Lewinsky era.
He had a mistress during the Monica Lewinsky era?
And I will comment on this. I am colorblind, but I must say she is dark-skinned. She looks like a black woman. And the reason why I bring that up, out of all these scandals, a couple of them are not pictured, but this is the only one that is a black woman. I bring this up on purpose because...
I know where you're going with this.
Breaking news!
Let's hear it.
Bill Clinton's love child, a young man, black, half white, wants to meet his father.
Oh, my goodness.
Bill
You know this is going to be proven.
Clinton.
This is going to be proven. It may not be soon, but it will be proven. Eventually there's going to be DNA.
Did you see the side-by-side comparison of the...
No, I have not seen this guy at all.
They took he looks like about an 18-year-old kid. They took his face at 18 and Bill Clinton's face at 18.
Oh, wow.
Uncanny. That's all I got to say about that. And when you look at her, she has similar features as well. So it wouldn't be hard for the there he is down on the right. Right here, down on the right. Yeah, right there. That's it, right there.
I don't know, man. It's hard to say.
The nose, the eyes, the chin, the shape of the face.
The same. Nose is definitely the same. Shape of the face is debatable.
So
age would be right. Ethnicity would be right, assuming that the mom.
Look at the smile. The smile's the same too. So Elizabeth Ward said she had sex with Bill Clinton. Paula Jones was paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lawsuit settlement after he pulled out. Bill Clinton apparently raped her, pulled his genitalia out, and demanded that she perform on him.
Okay.
Right. So she was able to prove that in court in a settlement, and
got settlement. Okay.
oh yeah, she's the only one that's been paid. I'm not sure if that's. I think it's like $350,000, $350,000, a little over $250,000. Jennifer Flowers had a long time affair with Bill Clinton. Regina Hopper, state trooper, said Clinton was having an affair with her. By the way, when he was governor of Arkansas, the troopers then said, "Oh my, we couldn't come out and tell you about it then, but let me tell you what was going down." He used the state troopers as his personal limousine service for sexual deviants and debutantes, and
wow,
they were appalled at it, but they didn't think. They're like, "Well, this is going to be it. He's going to go away after being governor. Okay, we'll be done." Lo and behold, he becomes president.
Right, right.
Don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask, don't ask, don't
Couldn't
tell.
stop him. Did you hear about I think it was a colonel, really high-ranking Air Force woman? She's never come out. A good friend of hers was interviewed by Sean Hannity the other day, and he said, "I can't get her to come out yet. She still hasn't come out. I really wish she would," but he just flat out sexually assaulted her and only stopped short of flat out rape because she just was that opposed to it. That
wow.
They realized, okay, this is not going to happen. It was on Air Force One, so he had a captive audience with her.
Right.
And she was going to go and bust him for it, but number one, she did not want to derail her Air Force career.
Or die.
Well, see, back then, before all the body count, they may not have thought that was an issue. These days, like Kathleen Willey or who's the other one? Juanita Broderick.
Yeah, they were.
She's afraid of her life.
They were talking about right after Vince Foster. They knew that after the death of Vince Foster, everybody knew what the Clintons were capable of and what they would do.
So nobody really believed. And culture said that was definitely a suicide.
That's fine.
I don't believe her, but
right. That's fine. That's fine. May or may not be a suicide. That's fine. However, the people closest to the Clintons that were in the Clinton White House say the moment that went down, immediately the very next day, people were rummaging through Vince Foster's office, through his desk, through his
They took all the
paperwork.
paperwork.
It took everything. And what used to be an open door policy, everybody talked and shit. No, it was shut down. Doors were locked. Secrets were being held. Meetings were being held. Nobody talked.
Wow,
and
I didn't know that.
The air was thick as Swiss cheese with no holes in it.
That would be a cheese without
Because there's
holes.
Swiss cheese with no holes.
Is there?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I know Baby Swiss has small holes.
I like Baby Swiss.
Okay, get back to the Air Force woman. She didn't want to derail her career. All she wanted was an apology. So I don't know what channels she went through, but it got back to Bill. All I need to do is give an apology, and she'll stay completely quiet. She doesn't want to derail her career, but she definitely wants an apology. And so he went, and he's like, I'm sorry.
Maybe I'll go back and give her an apology and see if I can get it again.
Oh! Wait.
I get another
This
chance
is
to
an
meet her?
opportunity.
Yes, I get another chance to meet her?
Oh, my goodness. This is that locker room banter we were talking about.
Correct.
So anyway, so she got the apology. She never came out public, and her friend, her close friend, just gave an interview the other day and said, I can't give her name. She wants to remain anonymous, but man, I keep on trying to.
Well, that's
tell
pretty.
her to come
That's
out,
pretty
come out.
bold of her to come out on Sean Hannity's show because
No, she didn't.
No,
Her friend did.
if anybody knows her friend, they would know the only lifer in the Air Force might be so and so.
I guess she may already be retired. I don't know, but she's apparently she's really quiet, reserved. She doesn't want to make.
Well, do you realize what's going to happen if she does come out?
Oh, she'll be limelight for the rest of her life.
She doesn't want that. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want
for
it.
that reason. To be famous because I had to come out and finally bust him, not worth it.
No.
Although if Hillary gets elected and there's any involvement with her, with this situation, I would say it's worth it to come out at that point.
Right. Marcia Scott, high-level Clinton staffer, said to have an affair with Clinton. Decent affair for a while. Monica Lewinsky, we all know about that one. Monica was in love with Bill Clinton.
Yeah, she was. And she was so young. Obviously, he took advantage of her.
And it had to stop because she was in danger of dying.
Which I didn't know at the time. And, of course, she wouldn't have known.
Yeah,
she had no idea.
Nobody knew. But the fact of the matter is that she had put herself in a situation that was getting very dangerous, very out of control, very erratic. It was right after Vince Foster's death. Things were just going so crazy that it had to come out. It had to be exposed in order to save the life of Monica Lewinsky. That's how bad it was.
That's amazing because, all the stories I've heard, she was just apparently she was a Republican and she kind of took advantage of Monica also. But you know what Gary Burns said to me, which I thought was it's amazing that I didn't think of this, but he was all on top of it. He's a Secret Service agent. He was totally involved in the Monica Lewinsky scandal. He was subpoenaed 6 times, all the above, all that stuff. He said the fact that Linda Tripp, was able to manipulate Monica the way she did puts our national security at risk. Because a Russian could have manipulated her.
Oh, and don't think that Russians wouldn't or haven't in the past done. Russians knew that using very beautiful, sexy women to give themselves wholeheartedly to American military personnel or even other counter spies to spies, they knew it worked.
Could you imagine if somehow the Russians or whoever got to Monica Lewinsky at the time the same way Linda Tripp was able to get to her, and then blackmailed her into going back and getting stuff out of Clinton that the Russians wanted or whatever. At the time, Russia was in shambles because they had just recently collapsed. But it could be any country that is trying to do harm to America. And you know what? We might have to thank Ronald Reagan and his ability to cause the Soviet Union to collapse, that saved our country, because had Bill Clinton been president while Soviet Union was still as powerful as they were at their peak, they would have totally got to him.
Yes.
The only thing that saved us was that in 89 or 90, when the Berlin Wall fell.
Yeah,
89?
88, 89.
It was 88 because in 1990, the whole thing abolished. So, the whole entire country collapsed, and it became an impoverished nation. The government dissolved. They kind of went into this quasi-capitalist society that was very local, government-oriented, and all that kind of stuff. My point is that the Soviet Union had the power and the resources, the ability, and definitely a history of doing this kind of espionage.
November 89. Sorry.
Yeah, November of 89. I remember I think it was in, whenever it was. I just remember hearing the Berlin Wall fell, and I was underwhelmed because of my age. But looking back on it, it's a major world historical event.
Oh, absolutely.
Huge, huge event. But anyway, the point is had there been a country like the Soviet Union with the kind of power that they had, the kind of resources, and the motivation to come after the President of the United States during the time that Bill Clinton was in office, it would have been absolutely devastating.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would have happened, and it would have happened so bad. It would have made this WikiLeaks crap of Hillary Clinton's stupid email server child's play.
Oh, no, without a doubt. But Russia would have gained access through her emails, through Bill Clinton's emails. You were talking about how Gary Byrne was saying that the respect for security was it wasn't there.
There was absolutely no respect for security. They all have their own safe in their office because they're constantly, all these people in the West Wing are constantly dealing with piles and piles of classified data or documents. So when they're done with their daily work, You're supposed to take all these classified documents and put them in your safe and lock it behind you before you leave. In fact, if they even go out for a smoke, they have to secure the document. They can't leave the stuff on the desk. And he said that the Secret Service was going behind them, and staff, White House staff, constantly going behind West Wing staff and securing documents for them because they would leave them all over the place, strewn everywhere.
So
there was no discipline there.
And if you think that it's going to change now, Hillary Clinton ain't changed. It's just as corrupt and as crooked as it ever was.
And Putin's Russia is starting to kind of get the kind of power that maybe not quite there yet, but it's getting powerful enough to be able to do this kind of stuff.
Well, not only that, but they're pushing John Kerry and they're pushing Obama around. Cease on the talks, no talks anymore. Walking away from it. Russia wanting to do whatever they want when it comes to the Middle East. John Kerry said, no, we're back at the table talking again.
John Kerry is the architect of the Iran debacle. And if you've ever listened to some of the speeches early on with Donald Trump at his campaign rallies, he was going off. The worst deal in history, which he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right about just about everything that he says.
Like I say again, and I'm not saying this for any other reason other than the state fact. Show me one time where Donald J. Trump has lied, has said something that he knew was untrue.
I think he lied about grabbing women's stuff.
I don't think he grabbed him at all.
Yeah, he definitely lied about that.
Yeah, I can't believe
I can't prove it, but
I can't believe he duped me into thinking that he was that kind of guy.
I wasn't duped for a half a second, apparently. Look, these guys, and we have lots of. We're going to get to the sound bites.
Yes,
because they are infuriating. And here's the thing, I want to say this to everybody listening because I think it's really important. There's a lot of people out there that are very, very demoralized, demotivated, that are Trump supporters because they're really hammering home on this, on the Trump audio scandal. And what they're hiding from you is a very important fact. And I will get to that when we get through these audios because you will see it and hear it. And from here on out, after listening to this show today, you're not going to be so demoralized and upset and realize that we're okay. I'm going to get to that. So go ahead. What do you got?
Here's Megyn Kelly.
Just 48 hours out from the next presidential debate, and the Trump campaign is in full damage control mode following a troubling story broken by the Washington Post today. Hours ago, the Post publishing a report along with video of Mr. Trump and NBC's Billy Bush discussing women in what can only be described as vulgar and lewd terms. The video was from 2005. It appears the men did not realize they were being recorded at the time, although clearly they were wearing microphones. Nevertheless, it is causing major controversy tonight, including a call released just moments ago by Republican Senator Mark Kirk asking for Donald Trump to drop out of this race. Trace Gallagher reports from our West Coast newsroom. Trace?
Megyn, this controversial tape has been sitting on a shelf at Access Hollywood for 11 years.
Mark Cuck.
Been sitting on the shelf for 11 years. Just wait. They've got dirt on everybody. If this is all they got on Trump, all right.
The show says it was just this week a producer remembered the Donald Trump segment, and after reviewing the tape, the show says it was working on a story, but somehow the Washington Post got a copy of the tape and broke the story first.
Right.
This is the worst reporting I've ever heard in my life.
On it, Billy Bush, who now works for the Today Show, was about to interview Donald Trump for an Access Hollywood segment. The two men were riding in a bus to the set of the soap opera Days of Our Lives, where Trump was about to do a cameo. Trump was already wearing a microphone, and you can hear him telling Billy Bush about a woman that he wanted to sleep with. It's graphic, but listen.
It's graphic.
And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. I took her out furniture. I moved on her like a but I couldn't get there. And she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now got the big phone and she's totally changed her look.
The bus then comes to a stop, and Trump and Bush are about to get off and meet actress Ariane Zucker. But before the doors open, the two men start commenting on the actress's legs and how, quote, hot she is.
Because you are not allowed to say that a woman is hot.
Wow, you do not do that in this.
Donald Trump saying this, again graphic.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And
Who is
when you start,
accusing
they let
him
you
of
do
this,
it.
by the way?
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the You can do anything.
He got a laugh out of him.
That's what we were talking about. The kid, Billy Bush, is laughing like a kid.
Donald Trump is kind of a natural comedian. And if you go, by the way, his rallies are always like a full hour, at least 50 minutes. When I went to Romney, I thought that was long. I have the video of the Romney rally that we went to 4 years ago. He spoke for 14 minutes. That's it. And that's actually typical. That's a typical campaign stump speech, 15 minutes. Donald Trump, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 70 minutes, and it's entertaining. People are not walking out. Nobody walks out.
No.
Sometimes people chuckle. Sometimes people just flat out laugh. Sometimes it's like hooting and hollering and chanting and whatnot.
10,000 plus people in it. What's going down in Cincinnati on Thursday?
Oh my gosh, they're going to have it probably 20,000.
It is going to be huge. Carrie and I will be there and possibly periscoping.
I will try. It depends on where I'm at. If I get a lull in the action, I'll definitely be hitting the periscope. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, I'd like to interview some people.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Trump now says, quote, this was locker room banter, a private conversation that took place many years ago. Bill Clinton has said far worse to me on the golf course, not even close. I apologize if anyone was offended. Trump, of course, has tried to use former President Clinton's infidelity as a campaign issue, accusing Hillary Clinton of being her husband's enabler. Today, Mrs. Clinton retweeted the Washington Post article and added, quote, this is horrific. We cannot allow this man to become president.
Why?
This is
I want to hear why.
Horrific.
I want to hear a specific reason why this particular story means we cannot allow this guy to be president of the United States.
Okay.
Democratic VP nominee Tim Kaine said this. Watch.
It makes me sick to my stomach. This is behavior that's just outrageous, and so that there would be a news story that would have more statements like this of this kind. I mean, gosh, I'm sad to say that I'm not surprised.
I'm sick to my stomach, my little tummy. Timmy is sick to his tummy.
Oh, boy.
Sorry about that.
And Billy Bush said today he's embarrassed and ashamed and acted foolishly by playing along. Megan.
He didn't play along, he laughed.
Trace, thank you.
Listen to this.
Just so our viewers know, and this isn't to be salacious, but what Trump said in that clip.
She's prepping you. This is not to be salacious. Just want you to know that.
That we bleeped was that you can do anything you want when you're a star, including grab them by the P word. That word that has been bleeped out is you can grab women by the P word. And, you know, as you look at the statements coming in tonight, Chris Direwalt, Reince Priebus, no woman should ever be described in these terms or talked about in this manner, ever. Mitt Romney coming out with the harshest condemnation of this, and Paul Ryan, with whom Trump was supposed to attend an event tomorrow in Wisconsin, coming out and saying he is no longer attending tomorrow's event. I'm sickened by what I heard today. This is Speaker of the House.
Okay. She did not tell you that Trump canceled the event. She's making it sound as if Paul Ryan is saying, I wouldn't have him at my event.
Okay.
Was
that what he said?
No. Paul Ryan said, I'm sickened, and he's not attending my event. Well, yeah, because he canceled it.
Okay.
You didn't cancel him. He canceled you.
That's an interesting. See, I didn't know that. So they canceled on Paul Ryan because of Paul Ryan's action.
Absolutely.
Well, that's huge. That's big news.
Not according to Megyn Kelly.
if that's true, then those facts are very significant. It's like, hey, you don't stand by us, we're out of here. We're canceling on you. We don't need you. We don't want you. Get out of here, Ryan. And believe me, there's a lot of people that are voting not only Trump, but the Republican down ticket that don't want to be hearing 30 days out that the Speaker of the House Republican is
a cuck.
Doing the things necessary. Listen, what does Trump have to do to get us to not vote for him? If he shoots somebody on Fifth Avenue at this point in time, in context, people, I'm voting for Trump because it's not about Trump anymore. We're 30 days out.
This isn't Trump. And they want to make it about Trump. That's why they did this.
Yeah, to prevent Hillary from taking away our Constitution, thus ending the United States of America as founded forever. And it will be forever. This stuff you don't reverse.
No.
You do not reverse this stuff. We didn't reverse Roe v. Wade and never will. We're murdering babies every single day. It's never going to be reversed unless there's like a major overhaul. Where's that going to come from? They're just like, let's just not talk about Roe v. Wade anymore because it's just not going to be changed. It's not going to be changed. Just forget it. You get the justices in the Supreme Court that take away the Second Amendment, and it is gone forever. Right?
Correct.
That being said, the only way to stop Hillary is to make sure that Trump wins, even if he's a murderer. Because I'd rather have a murderer as the president of the United States that's going to uphold the Constitution than somebody who's a piece of expletive that's going to take my Constitution away from me.
Right. Take it away. Replace it with liberal judges who will do away with the Constitution because it is an old... I had a high school kid tell me, that old thing, that old man, that's an old document.
It was written by slaveholders.
Yes, just all I could do was just gasp.
We've had a whole segment on that. So anyway, that being said, what does Paul Ryan think he's doing?
I really don't.
He obviously does not subscribe to the obvious, which is that at this point, it's no longer about Donald Trump. It's about saving. It's not about the Republican Party. It's not about, hey, we need a win for the R's. No, we need to save the country. And if that means getting somebody in that you really don't want to save the country, or somebody that you don't like, or somebody that you wouldn't want your children to hear speak in a private conversation.
Right.
I mean, do you think, okay, for those of you with young daughters out there, what if I told you, hey, how would you like your daughter to hear Brian and I mic'd up in a private conversation in another room? That ain't going to happen.
No.
You would never want that. Be like, hey, guys. You're mic'd up and the speaker is in the same room with my daughter, so you're going to have to clean it up.
Right. No.
And that's what people are saying. Right. I don't think that women should hear this. I don't think that children should hear this. Yeah, that's right. That's why they said it in private. I mean, whatever. The point is that when Hillary is president, she's going to take away what we know of as liberty in the world.
Absolutely. You want to hear what Bill Maher said?
Oh, boy. I think I may have heard this, but go ahead.
Dude, this is for those of you with weak stomachs.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I don't believe he cusses or anything like that, but for those of you with weak knees or weak stomachs about 9/11, you might want to walk away for a minute and come back.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Here's Bill Maher on Trump.
And finally, new rule in the next debate: when Donald Trump starts going on about how everything in this country is a total disaster, Hillary must lean into the mic and say, "Wrong." Now, Donald Trump's campaign. Okay, quiet now. No.
That'd be great.
We're into the end now. Donald Trump's campaign is built, of course, on many fallacies, but the one we really need to debunk
Can you name one?
is that America is in such a desperate place that a wild card like Trump is worth the risk.
It is.
Trump fans talk like they live in a western town where the banditos are so out of control, only a maverick gunslinger can save them. A man with no tax code. The fastest tweet in the West covered in man-tan. Not really worth that, was it? So, please, I don't need your pity. Wait, I may need your pity. Yeah. But I give Donald Trump supporters a little credit. They know he's an asshole. It is hard to hide. They just don't care. They'll admit, yes, he's dangerous and thin-skinned and unhinged.
I don't know a Trump supporter that has ever said any of that.
Yeah, he's literally making it up. He's creating straw men out of his supporters. I mean, it's bad enough that everything that they say about Trump is literally straw man arguments over and over. Now he's straw manning his supporters.
And clinically insane. And an egomaniac, a compulsive liar.
He's describing Hillary Clinton to the T. Egomaniac, compulsive liar.
A charlatan with the impulse control of a grease fire.
Yeah, that would be her.
But we have to take the risk because America is hanging by a thread. How do we know it is? Donald Trump told me.
The situation is worse than it has ever been before.
True.
The generals have been reduced to rubble.
Our country is going to hell.
True.
Our infrastructure is going to hell.
African
Obama has been saying that.
Right.
Americans, Hispanics, are living in hell. You walk down the street, you get shot.
The American dream is dead.
Is that a laugh track in the background?
No, he actually has a studio audience.
Who would laugh at that statement?
Well, I think it's the way he put the montage together. It does kind of sound like sounds like he's trying to fearmonger people with hyperbole. That's not true.
Right. Correct.
It's insane. I mean, one of the
Stop
popular...
it real quick. 96 million people are not working. Able-bodied people are not working in America. The only way to get anywhere or to even earn any kind of decent amount of money, you have to work for the government or somehow qualify for all these subsidies. What the hell? What does he think the American dream is? It is dead.
When you have the highest rate of unemployed men, able-bodied working men, since the Great Depression back in the 30s.
Yeah, and look at the state of our schools. Education for our kids, it's absolutely horrendous. There's nothing that is going right compared to what it was back when we didn't have so much liberal government ideology and all that kind of stuff. I mean, who would have ever thought 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that we'd have huge major cities in America that look like Detroit does or Youngstown?
Detroit ain't come back.
Oh, it's not going to.
No, not at all. Not at all. Okay, here's where he gets into the meat of the Trump campaign.
Memes on the right these days, I'm not kidding, is that this election they're calling it the Flight 93 election.
Oh, I never heard of that. It's kind of interesting, but I never heard it.
He's saying there's memes on the right. I did not know this.
We are totally entrenched on the right. I have no idea. I have not heard this.
I mean, I'm not a meme king by no means, but I love them.
But we see them.
And I use them a lot.
And I see them. I don't use a lot of memes, but I indulge.
When they're good ones, I save them. If I'd have seen this, I would have said something. So the Flight 93 meme.
In the plane on 9/11 that crashed in Pennsylvania after the passengers rushed the cockpit. In other words, things have gotten so bad, it's time to rush America's cockpit. As the creator of the metaphor put it, you may not make it into the cockpit, but if you don't try, death is certain. Really? President Hillary equals certain death? What do they think she's going to do? Pour lead in the water supply? Oh, wait, that was the Republicans in Michigan.
How can you get away with such a bold-faced
Everybody
lie?
in Michigan, they're all Democrats.
It's totally everything that happened to Detroit is the result of all the same socialist, communist, progressive policies that have been tried ever since Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. How could he get away with such an unbelievably bold-faced lie? So brazen. Biggest lie, so huge. For all of you people out there that have, you know what, I've actually been challenged on this, and I should have been preparing to be able to answer this a little bit more promptly, but I've been telling people the media is just lying through their teeth, and they've been challenging me. I'm not saying it's not true, but can you give me some examples? And I just don't have them lined up.
Well, you got one right here. Line this one up.
To say that what happened to Detroit is the result of any kind of conservative ideology whatsoever is a enormous whopper. A whopper of a lie. Unbelievable whopper. Not even close. So just FYI, that's a great example of a bold-faced lie. And to be fair, he's not necessarily news media, but let's be honest here. Liberals don't get their news from traditional news outlets. They used to get them from The Daily Show. Now they get them from, Saturday Night Live. You got Bill Maher. He's absolutely a news source for these people.
Right. It's disgusting. It's despicable. So, yeah. Well, not only that, but if you ever turned on NPR, you'd quickly turn it off. It's boring as hell.
Well,
it's just awful.
Yeah, they don't have. I don't know what they're doing. They don't have a need to entertain anybody because they're not selling a product to any customers. They're subsidized by the government.
The government, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we got, and I found this interesting. All the news media outlets have been having on Trump supporters, not necessarily campaign staffers.
Oh, I don't know where you're going with this, but I wanted to get to. I promised everybody I would tell them why they don't need to be too worried about the Trump scandal. Do you have any more sound bites on it?
Oh yeah.
I want to stay on that topic because
we're on it.
Okay,
cool, we're on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
This is Jeffrey Lords with Wolf Blitzer, and Wolf Blitzer attempting to derail him on Trump and voting for Trump. Here's Wolfie.
President of the United States. Part of that job is crisis management. How would you rate his handling of this crisis so far?
First of all, thank you for telling us it's a crisis.
Thank you for letting us know what it is because we did not know. We thought it was a joke. Did you? It was a joke?
Well, they're in full, what do they call it?
Crisis mode.
Full crisis mode, right.
So far, so good. I think the video was good. I think it was good of him to get out there.
So good. Look at the reaction from your fellow Republicans.
We
got to stop that.
We got to talk about this.
That's what I want to get to.
Yep.
Look, he's handled it well. Look at your reaction from your fellow Republicans. Don't forget that line. Now, go ahead.
About that for a second, because I genuinely think what we've got, we had that clip with Mayor Giuliani saying it's insiders versus outsiders. That's what's been going on all year long. Mm-hmm. And the interesting fact is that the more this happens with elites across the board, the more that is going to push his base and whip up the enthusiasm out there.
That's not enough to get him elected president.
Well, I think it can extend well beyond that. And you know, we've talked about the Bill Clinton situation. One of the things that happened during that episode was that his numbers went up. There was a CNN poll.
Listen to this real quick. He's talking about Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky and the cigar event.
That's right.
In the day.
Let's take a look at these Republicans. These are your fellow Republicans. We'll put some of these pictures up on the screen. These are not just outsiders. These are not just people who never liked Donald Trump and never supported him. Most of them, the ones in the past 24 hours, did endorse him, were willing to vote for him. But now they are saying, including Condoleezza Rice, who has been so silent, highly respected, as you well know, all of a sudden they are saying he is not fit to be president of the United States.
I mean, in this environment, all that does is underscore the problem. And in a historical sense, when Richard Nixon got into his trouble as a vice presidential candidate, this same thing happened. There were a parade of Republicans that said he's got to get off the ticket. That led to his checkers speech and his comeback. But I really think that they're making a big mistake in misjudging the temper of the country here.
Oh, man, I've never heard this audio, and this is really...
Jeffrey Lords. And he said, go back historically, look back when the eruption for the Monica Lewinsky scandal, Bill Clinton's numbers went up. His approval ratings went up.
I never thought about that analogy, but wow, that's big.
And Richard Nixon, his numbers went up.
Which, that's before my time, so I really don't know that detail there.
Yeah, I was there at his speech when he gave it.
You were. I
was in my 30s.
Yeah, it was.
Whatever. I wasn't there either, but God bless the YouTube and information.
Right. Well,
the shows he gave this powerful speech afterwards, and then was elected. Just propelled him.
Okay.
He went up.
And he had a big comeback.
Yeah.
So, for those of you too young to know this or remember, but it was a pretty big shocker. It was a head scratcher that right after the Monica Lewinsky scandal just exploded, Bill Clinton's poll numbers went to numbers that probably will never be duplicated in the history of America ever again. I mean, it was like 90% approval rating,
right?
After Monica Lewinsky scandal broke, so it was really weird that they rallied around him. It was almost like we got to a point in America where it was like, yeah, okay, so he's a fallible man, and sure he lied, but private matter. Don't really approve of the way the press is making such a big deal out of it. That's the only explanation I could think of, but his approval ratings went through the roof. But when you have numbers that high, that means that even Republicans were approving of him at that point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you would have to have
that. And also there's a pre-9/11, pre-dot-com bubble bursting mentality. The 90s was something special. There was something special about the 90s. The only thing that can even remotely come close to comparing to the feeling of euphoria you got through the entire decade of peace and prosperity of the 90s, which, by the way, was largely a result of Reagan economics. It would have been like the late 50s, early 60s.
And I tell you what, I'd take trumped-up, trickle-down economics any day, all day long.
Yeah, because that's Reagan economics, pretty much. It's what we got. It's what resulted in the 90s. You get Trump in there, if he's able to pull off anything like what Reagan did economically, and we're going to have another decade like the I guess it would be late 50s to early 60s. I'd say from like maybe 55 to 65. Right. And then I would say from right after the Gulf War, we had a little bit of a downturn because that was one of the big reasons why George H.W. Bush lost the election, was that people were complaining about the economy. And by people, I mean the media.
Okay, we've got a couple of listeners that have steered me while we've been on the air.
They jerked the steering wheel out of your
jerked the
hand?
steering wheel, and apparently Donald J. Trump has appeared before the debate, has appeared in public with a handful of Bill Clinton's accusers.
Oh, sweet. Do we have any kind of audio or anything?
Yeah, we got like a 46-second audio clip, just to make sure there's no commercials. Here we go. That seems like a commercial. Oh, it's somebody trolled us. But anyway, so he had like a little town hall sit-down.
What do you mean somebody trolled us?
It was a fake.
Oh.
But it was like a town hall sit-down where he's sitting.
So there's no audio anywhere of it?
Yeah, there is. There is.
Somebody help me out here.
But so he's with the accusers. He's sitting there and they're talking about it. But it's amazing. I mean, he's right there about ready.
So thank you very much for coming. And these four very courageous women have asked to be here, and it was our honor to help them. And I think they're each going to make just an individual short statement, and then we're going to have a little meeting, and we'll see you at the debate. Okay? Perhaps we'll start with Paula.
Well, I'm here to support Mr. Trump because he's going to make America great again. And I think everybody else should vote for him. And I think they should all look at the fact that he's a good person. He's not what other people have been saying he's been, like Hillary. So think about that.
Okay. Kathy Shelton.
So I'm also here to support Trump. At 12 years old, Hillary put me through something that you would never put a 12-year-old through. And she says she's for women and children. And she was asked last year on what happened, and she says she's supposed to defend whether they did it or not. And now she's laughing on tape, saying she knows they did it.
You went through a lot.
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Juanita Broderick, and I'm here to support Donald Trump. I tweeted recently, and Mr. Trump retweeted it, that actions speak louder than words. Mr. Trump may have said some bad words, but Bill Clinton raped me, and Hillary Clinton threatened me. I don't think there's any comparison.
That's awful. That's god awful.
I'm Kathleen Willie, and I am here to support Donald Trump. The reason for that is the first day that he announced for president, he said, I love this country and I want America to be great again. And I cried when he said that, because I think that this is the greatest country in the world. I think that we can do anything. I think we can accomplish anything. I think that we can bring peace to this world. And I think Donald Trump can lead us to that point.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Mr. Trump, you touched a woman without their consent. Mr. Trump, why did you say you touched a woman without consent, Mr. Trump?
Why don't y'all ask Bill Clinton that? Why don't y'all go ask Bill Clinton that? Go ahead and ask Hillary as well.
Did you hear that question? The media, a bunch of people screamed out. It sounded like they said, "Why do you touch women without consent?" Which that's not what he did. That's called questioning with a false premise. That's like I can't think of a good example right off the top of my head, but when you ask a question that only makes sense when you're basing it on a lie, that's asking a question with a false premise. He didn't talk about touching a woman without consent. This would be a consensual situation. Otherwise, a woman wouldn't let you do this stuff.
No, that goes back to the whole thing that we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Men are men. Men do what men do. But, I mean, there's a very, very, not a fine line, but it's a big, bold line. Black, bold line that says, this is rape, this is not.
Right, and it's very clear, and we all know it.
We know who is the rapist, and we know who is not.
Yeah, Bill Clinton's the rapist, and Hillary Clinton is okay with him being a rapist.
Correct.
She'd probably rather not have to work so hard to destroy the victims.
Yeah, I thought about that. Put yourself in her shoes. God, it must be awful.
Listen, a good person that was in Hillary Clinton's shoes would have been like, this is ridiculous. What the hell is wrong with you? You got to get help. And in the meantime, these women have got to get justice. But no, she denied those women in that press conference justice. The justice that could only come when Bill Clinton is punished, and it was thwarted by Hillary Clinton, the woman who is running for president.
Right, absolutely. You want to play Trump's apology?
Yes, that would probably be important. Yeah.
All right, here's Trump and his apology that he came out with it was yesterday, I guess.
I've never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. I've said and done things I regret, and the words released today on this more than a decade-old video are one of them. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. I said it, I was wrong, and I apologize.
Whoa!
Nice. He did say, I apologize.
I said it. I accept it.
Another lie.
I apologize.
Another lie from the media is non-apology. They're calling this a non-apology. He said, I said it and I apologize. For anybody to try to characterize this video as a non-apology is a liar, a bold-faced liar, and I'll look them right in their face and say, you know what? You're a liar. And if you're in the news media lying to people like that, you know what? You need to be exposed as the liar that you are. And I'm really angry right now because we just saw clips earlier of the media characterizing that apology as a non-apology. What the hell do you want? Seriously.
It's beyond me.
A liar.
Yeah, even the judge said it was a liar.
Clearly. I am angry right now.
Okay.
I've traveled the country talking about change for America, but my travels have also changed me.
I want to just say something real quick about that. People, I've got this theory. People don't change. People are who they are inside, and they may veer off that course and behave like they are not. Maybe for days, for years, for hours, for long periods of time. And if anybody knows me for any extensive period of time, you may know that at one point in time I was on a course that was not me. I did not change to become this guy now. I became who I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you were somebody that you probably weren't.
I was pretending to be something that I wasn't.
Right. I've been accused of being fake before, and I was outraged. And when I look back in time, I was trying to be somebody I wasn't, and I wasn't even doing a very good job of it.
Okay, that being said, what he just said right now, that was not me, I was not being me. I've traveled the world, and I don't know if he used the word change, but I've come to an understanding. Yes, when you are hit with a lot of information, a lot of bad things, a lot of stress, in a situation where you might be able to lend help, seeing people in poverty, seeing people that are less fortunate than you, and then all of a sudden your heart starts to turn towards that.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself, it won't change you. It'll bring out the goodness that is already in you, if there's goodness in you.
Right. That's
Hillary looked at Haiti, and there's not an ounce of goodness in that wretched woman. Not an ounce of goodness in that wretched woman. And so she looked at Haiti, and she saw, oh, take the money.
Good opportunity.
Trump would look at Haiti.
Hurricane Matthew.
Right.
She dumped $85 million in advertising on Hurricane Haiti because she said this will really get everybody whipped up into a frenzy.
Yeah, Hurricane Matthew, millions and millions of dollars on the Weather Channel.
Yeah, Weather Channel, right.
Only because she never let a crisis go to waste.
Oh, my gosh.
That's an evil-hearted wench. Donald Trump would look at Haiti, has looked in the eyes of the mothers, the Gold Star families, has looked in the eyes of these women who have been raped. He's looked in the eyes of Americans who are out of jobs and out of work, and his heart breaks for us, and literally, out of the goodness of his soul, wants to do what he can because he knows he has the talent to change this country around. And tonight's debate is Donald Trump versus the world. Everyone and their grandmother is coming out slinging for him with axes, knives, swords, guns, rockets, whatever they can do to destroy this man and his family, to not take their bread and butter away from them. That's why I vote for Trump.
Well, I have something to make you feel a little bit better. It's not him against the world. He just represents a giant chunk of America. I think 66% of America. I believe that he has the support of 2/3 of America. I really, truly believe that. There's actual evidence out there that kind of supports that bold claim of mine of 2/3 of the country. He's going out there all by himself where all the power and all the elite are on the other side. The side of anti-Americanism, anti-constitutionalism, anti-liberty. They're communists, they're progressives, and they all have the power. All of us little guys, we don't have the power. all the power is concentrated in the communists, and they are all gunning for him. And he represents us.
Right. And when he came out and he said, I am your voice.
Oh, yeah.
That resonated with the majority of Americans that feel the pinch. And you know what? I'm not doing too bad. I've got a great job. I've got a great family. I'm in a situation where I'm okay. I mean, if things fell apart tomorrow, I don't know how long I could last, but I'm okay. I know there's people out there that are hurting.
Way worse, yeah.
I see the numbers. I see the people. I see the need for this titanic ship called America to be patched up so that we can float again. I digress. Okay, back to Trump.
Spend time with grieving mothers who've lost their children, laid off workers whose jobs have gone to other countries, and people from all walks of life who just want a better future. I have gotten to know the great people of our country, and I've been humbled by the faith they placed in me. I pledge to be a better man tomorrow and will never, ever let you down.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah. So I pledge to be a better man tomorrow. I would have never really thought nothing of that until I saw the liberal progressive critique of that, which is, oh, you're going to be a better man tomorrow. This tape happened 11 years ago. You're just now deciding that tomorrow is going to be your first day that you're going to pledge to be a better man. Okay, so what is really going on here? Why didn't I feel that way when I heard that? And why is it that they felt what they felt and said what they said when they heard the same thing that I heard?
Yeah, we both felt the same way.
I can't remember who said this. I may have heard it secondhand through Rush Limbaugh, and he may have been quoting somebody else. But he said something that is illustrated right here, which is that Trump supporters take Trump seriously, but they don't take him literally. And his detractors, and especially the media take him literally, and they don't take him seriously. That's the big difference. So when he says, I'm going to be a better man tomorrow, okay, the literal translation of that is that he's not going to do it today. He's just going to wait till tomorrow to do it.
Right.
That's a literal translation.
Right.
And my interpretation of that is not the literal, I'm going to be a better man tomorrow. What he means by that is that he's in the process of being a better man, and by tomorrow he means the future. So not the literal sense of tomorrow, but the figuratively future.
This little shout out to the kids and to my daughters, Amelia Bedelia.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know. My daughter used to read that.
The babysitter, she was told to go dress the chickens.
Oh, that's right. That is a good story. Did we give that book to you? That's possible. That's very possible. She said, go dress the chickens for
dinner.
Yeah, you got to dress the chickens.
Yeah.
So she put clothes on the chickens.
I don't know if I think Amelia Bedelia, the story, was inspired by a Bugs Bunny Warner Brothers cartoon.
Okay.
Where a similar thing had happened. And
it's kind of the source of comedy, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Where you change the meaning of things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like for Thanksgiving we don't
Yeah, when
pilgrims
they landed here.
Yeah, well, pilgrims shot turkeys, and that's what we have for Thanksgiving.
Right.
But if we shot cats, we'd all be eating
something else.
Something else for Thanksgiving. Right. And that is an awesome joke, I have to say. But
let's be honest. We're living in the real world. This is nothing more than a distraction from the important issues we're facing today.
I don't need to tell you this, but we all know this. I'm just reiterating and reaffirming that this is an on-purpose distraction from the WikiLeaks email exposure of how crooked. We all knew Hillary Clinton is crooked Clinton. We knew it. Donald Trump called out Lying Ted. Came out to be true. He was a liar. Now he calls Hillary Clinton crooked Hillary. That stuck because why? Because she is crooked. WikiLeaks has exposed, and funny that WikiLeaks earlier this week didn't do a very good job of dumping. So Grucifer 2.0 did the dump and said, thanks, hey, happy 10th anniversary, Wiki. He said, He said, here's the dump for you guys. Here's what you.
Oh my gosh.
He said, this is what you've been waiting for, folks. Here's the Clinton Foundation dump of docs. P.S. Happy 10th, WikiLeaks.
Okay.
So, and then WikiLeaks comes out Friday and does a more of an official dump. The thing about WikiLeaks is they make it searchable and they make it manageable.
And in order to do that, it takes a lot of work.
Right.
That's why it takes a while.
Right. Grucifer 2.0, you can follow him on WordPress. They're just downloadable zip files that you have to sift through. It's difficult. You do the legwork, but it's there. Anyways, I digress.
We're losing our jobs. We're less safe than we were 8 years ago, and Washington is totally broken. Hillary Clinton and her kind have run our country into the ground. I've said some foolish things, but there's a big difference between the words and actions of other people. Bill Clinton has actually abused women, and Hillary has bullied, attacked, shamed, and intimidated his victims. We will discuss this more in the coming days. See you at the debate on Sunday.
I just had a thought. I know it's rare, but I had a thought. Is this a gift from God?
What?
Donald Trump's video being exposed?
Well,
here's why I say that.
Yeah, let me hear your explanation.
This may just be the gift that we have all been praying for, because now it forces, it mandatory forces Donald Trump to smack Hillary Clinton dead square in the eyeballs.
Oh, this is a theory. This is a theory that's been brought up.
Well, look what he just did with the video. This is minutes.
The gloves are off. The gloves are off.
The kit gloves are off. We're 33 minutes and 45 seconds away from the debate. Donald Trump is in the hotel before the debate, not sleeping, not napping.
He has the license to take the gloves off now.
Absolutely, 100%.
He's been given the green light.
Correct. And so he does a presser, a quick throw-together presser with 4 raped and abused women.
Yep.
And
not just by Bill. These women were abused by his wife running for the President of the United States, Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton. So don't give me this, Bill's not on the ticket. Well, by the way, he is on the ticket because he's going to be First Lady, but whatever.
And that girl, that woman, I read into the story and I went down the rabbit hole into it. It is emotional, and it is destroying how Hillary literally obliterated this 12-year-old little girl.
Oh my gosh, how could this not be the instant response to any kind of a war on women fake thing that the Democrats are trying to pull on Donald Trump?
Right, and she's older now, and she's come out and she's explained.
As far as I'm concerned, it's worse than anything that Hillary's done with Bill's victims.
Yeah.
She's got to be worse.
She said her entire life was completely destroyed. After that, the drugs, the sex, the alcohol, running away, the abuse by other men and other situations, it was just horrifying the last 20, 25 years that she's had to go through. Apparently, she's been able to pull herself together. She's at this event with Donald J. Trump. You know, there's not much more I can say. Hate Trump as much as you want.
Remember what he said in the last debate? He said, I could bring stuff up. But I see Chelsea out in the audience. I see her out in the audience, and you know what? I got too much class for that. I'm not gonna go down that road because it's just not right. It's just not right. Now it's like, you really want to pull the gloves off? All right, it's happening.
The good Lord above said, Trump, you gotta go full retard. You gotta go all out. It has to be this way because of all the cheating, the lying, the scandals, the voter fraud that is running rampant. We're not even... This is early voting, and there's voter fraud already in multiple states. It has to be.
Are you looking at the comment section? Dan says it's going to be stolen by Hillary. And let me tell you,
it has to be a landslide for there no theft to be.
Right,
it can't go down like Bush v. Gore.
Right.
Not possible.
But what's scary is even if it's a landslide nationwide, it really is boiling down to battleground states and all that kind of stuff. So if there's going to be some states that are closed, it could still be stolen. Just by stealing a couple of counties here and there in the battleground states. So that could be a major problem.
Well, and if some of the places are close or tied, a lot of the local judges, Obama has already installed
that's right.
hundreds and hundreds of local judges that are leftist liberals that will turn the tide to the Democrat
Mark
Party.
Levin pointed that out. How many local, smaller judges that have been appointed by Obama? There's an overwhelming. We're underdogs. Conservatism is a huge underdog in America today. So, okay, so we never got to the point where I was going to explain to everybody why we got a half hour before the debate starts, and I got to explain to everybody why this audio scandal of Trump is not going anywhere, and it won't go anywhere. We're in a brave new world. Back in the day, a couple years ago, they were able to destroy the Tea Party by simply making people believe that nobody's going to tolerate the accusations of racism and stuff like that, right?
Correct.
And they've tried to do the same thing to Trump, but thanks to the alt-right and people who are kind of sympathetic to the alt-right for the most part, and in some cases call themselves the alt-right, that people are done with the false accusations of racism. They're not letting them get away with it anymore, okay?
Correct.
This being said, with all that as the backdrop, what you notice, pay attention to this. You've heard it in all of our audio clips, especially when you hear the mainstream media talk. When you hear them talk, listen for it. It's there. It's obvious once you see it. If you don't see it, it's not so obvious, but it is obvious once I explain this to you. They never say that you should how should I word this? It's not about how you feel, because everybody says the same thing. And when you talk to your friends, you'll notice this. Talk to your friends and do the experiment for yourself. Everybody always says, I'm worried about what other people are going to think about this.
Oh, that's right.
That's what they always say. I'm really worried. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Well, to me, I'm not really worried about it. I know that's how guys talk, locker room talk, whatever. But I'm telling you, I think this is really going to upset a lot of people. That's what they always say. What's the key? The key is that there's these mysterious, faceless people out there, this mob of people that you don't know anything about, that supposedly are not going to tolerate the locker room talk coming from their presidential candidate. But in reality, that's the myth. This boogeyman. The boogeyman is these people that are supposedly going to be upset about the audio coming out. It's a total myth. And when you listen to the mainstream media, you'll hear it over and over that people are upset about this. No, they're not. What people? Name the people. Show me the people. And you'll see it in the polls. And it would have worked in the past. It
always worked in the past.
Yeah.
That's why they're doing it now.
False allegations of racism. And what they're trying to do is trying to get you to believe that there's this big mob of people. You don't see them, but they're there. They're there.
Where are they?
Oh, they're there.
Oh, okay.
And guess what?
What's that?
They don't like racists. They don't like being called racist.
No.
And if you get called a racist, they're not going to like you.
No.
You may not ever see them, but they're not going to like you. Excuse me. I've got the Hillary Clinton disease over here.
I was going to say, man, are they getting to us? They're finally getting to us?
They sprayed the house. It's the contrails.
Oh, the contrails.
Oh, the contrails.
Man, we should have listened to
what's his
George Norrie.
Oh, I thought it was Alex.
No, Norrie goes off on
Really?
he loves the contrail.
Okay,
conspiracy.
so I don't know if I explained it well enough, but it's never me. It's never you. And when you talk to your friends, it's never them.
Okay, here's what it is.
It's always this mysterious other people.
Oh my God! I wonder what Carrie's going to think. Ring, 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 ring. Hey,
hello, hello,
Carrie, is that you?
Yeah.
Hey, man, did you hear?
Oh yeah, about Trump. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's disgusting.
So what am I supposed to think?
I assumed that you thought it would be disgusting too.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't really.
By the way, these are exact quotes of people that I've talked to.
Didn't really bother me that much.
Really?
No, I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, I guess it's not that bad. The truth of the matter is, you're going to hear people that are going to say they're disgusted by it. Kurt Schilling
has become a shill.
Yeah, he's shilling. All right.
He's shilling. All right.
Is that your name or is that your description?
What you
Is that your profile?
Is that just what you do?
Oh my gosh. So anyway, Kurt Schilling comes out and said, here's a guy who spent most of his entire life in a locker room. Okay,
right?
Because he's a very famous Major League Baseball player, and then after he retired from baseball, was an ESPN analyst for many years. He comes out and says, "Oh my gosh, this is terrible," which a lot of people have said. Shouldn't say that. No woman should ever be talked about that way, right? That's what they're saying.
Right.
And then here's the big lie. I never met anybody, never knew anybody, I never heard that kind of talk before. Kurt Schilling saying that. You liar.
Not only that, but that whole thing when Jake,
be a cuck, man.
That whole thing when Jake Tapper said that never. I've been in fraternities, I've been here, and I've been there, and never in my life have I ever heard words put together to make a sentence.
I've never heard of words put in that order before to make those sentences. Yeah, that's crazy.
Hey, did you hear Obama weighing in on this?
Yeah, another guy said, but I tell you what, you won't see me moving to no African jungle anytime soon.
What?
Or some goddamn desert somewhere sitting on a carpet with a bunch of Arabs? No, sir. And you won't see me stop eating no ribs either. You gotta have them ribs. And pussy too. Don't Malcolm talk about no pussy? Now you know that ain't gonna work.
What? That was actually Obama, not an impersonator.
Doing a stand-up in front of a small little audience.
Talking about how he needs ribs and P-word female anatomy.
Right.
Well,
why didn't that come to break the light? Hillary dropped the ball. She should have released that before in 08.
He could have released that in 08. She could have, She could have totally.
It could be a he. I don't know what it is now.
Well, you know, when you're a robot, you don't really have a gender.
Right. Or this one, I believe this one's been bleeped out. If it hasn't, I'll shut it off real quick, but check this one out.
You ain't my bitch, nigga.
Oh,
okay, so he did bleep it. Okay.
You ain't my bitch, nigga. Buy your own damn fries. Now, you know that guy ain't shit. Sorry-ass motherfucker got nothing on me, right? Nothing. There are white folks, and then there are ignorant motherfuckers like you.
That was our current president.
That's Obama. That is Obama.
By the way, did you catch the racism there?
Very racist.
To say, hey, there's ignorant people, and then there's even worse. White people.
White people. Not the whiteys.
Yeah, I mean...
Whiteys?
That's so racist.
Racist. I don't know what to do about that.
Anyway, so yeah, that's our current president. So don't hand me this crap about... I've never heard language like that before. And by the way, the first audio clip was more relevant because he objectified women by...
Drop the P word.
Referring to them as P word.
Yes. Meat and potatoes. He literally said, I need my ribs and my potatoes.
But not potato.
No.
The other P word.
Meat and potatoes. That's what he was calling for.
Like the cat.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, cat.
I'm beside myself. Oh, here's
a bunch of hypocrites is what they are.
Hey, I'll tell you what, here's the supporters, female supporters of Trump going on CNN. They're making the rounds. I'll tell you what, this is why I believe in the people, and I believe that this movement is going to continue forward because Trump supporters are being interviewed on CNN, not Trump campaign personnel. Trump support, they're referred to as Trump supporters. So check this out on CNN and how this Trump supporter, as a female, navigates the sick, biased media. Listen to the words and listen to how this goes.
Scotty, you're the first female, Trump surrogate to come out and speak since this happened. I don't know if you just heard the reporting a moment ago. Dana Bash was saying, a top GOP person who supported Donald Trump, said, I don't know how any woman in America can vote for Donald Trump now.
Okay, a top GOP supporter, she didn't name the name. She just said a top GOP supporter said, I don't know how any woman could support Trump now.
Kind of hinting back at what we talked about from the very beginning of this program. Let's talk about all women in America real quick.
Okay.
Do you have a husband? Do you have a father?
Yeah.
Do you have a brother? Do you have male cousins?
Okay. Yeah.
They've all had these conversations, so don't even try it.
And they're not going to do it in front of you. They never. This is the bro code. This is the bro code.
I've had these conversations not with my sister, but with her in the room, just because I know your sister. Not because I thought that she would be interested in the conversation, but because I knew she would be appalled.
Yes,
That's the way it works.
And I've done that to my younger sister too. And to get a rise out of them, it's whatever. Okay.
Now, this is someone who supports him.
She said that twice. A Trump supporter no woman could possibly support Trump again. By the way, this is a supporter. I don't have the name, and I'm not going to tell it to you.
What about you?
Well, those words are horrendous. They're dreadful. They're appalling. They're foul. But I will say this, the words of Donald Trump for 11 years ago are bad, but they're not near as bad as the actions of Hillary Clinton since she's been in office. There are 4 soldiers in Benghazi right now that are not with us right now because of Hillary Clinton's actions and could care less about Donald Trump.
Mic drop!
Speaking of mic drop, it sounds like she was a little late on trying to cut Scotty off, and she desperately wanted to.
Okay, fill people in on some of the times that you've done interviews. You talked to me about this earlier off the air. You've done interviews with other people.
Oh, we have the wrong soundbite for that. The one with the guy. I don't know if you had. We were watching it on video. It wasn't Jake Tapper. It was the other guy, whoever it was. So basically, if you try
Anderson Cooper.
No, it was somebody I didn't recognize, actually. But whenever you are... It might have been with Rudy Giuliani.
Okay. It was probably Jake Tapper. That's the one we actually watched.
No, it wasn't Jake Tapper. But okay, here's the point. Point is that you got to stop the other guy's narrative by interrupting him. However, you have to have something specific to interrupt him with. And if you do... Oh, that was Tapper? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. You know what? Maybe Tapper just looks like somebody that I thought was somebody else. But anyway, you got to have something specific to say or to ask in order to successfully interrupt somebody. And Jake Tapper completely failed on that regard, but I don't know if she succeeds.
Scotty, I understand what you're trying to do, and you're trying to do your job, right? You're trying to turn this to Hillary Clinton, but I do just have to ask you: has anything changed for you when you hear this?
Okay. The initial response from Scotty should be, well, I know you're trying to do your job.
By steering me back on the conversation you want me to be on.
Because I just told you there are 4 dead Americans because of Hillary Clinton. Yeah. She didn't take the call at 3 a.m.
So here's the struggle. Here's the tug of war. The liberals want this to be all about the very, very out of context specifics of what Trump said. As far as they're concerned, it would be F word, P word, back to back in a loop, nonstop until Election Day.
Right.
What the right is trying to do is trying to turn it into what policies and what past that Hillary has is going to hurt America. It's going to hurt individuals. It's going to hurt the middle class. It's going to hurt people with their jobs. It's going to do whatever to you individually in a bad way compared to what Trump plans on doing and has a history of doing that could either hurt or help you. And if you do that side-by-side comparison, Hillary is trounced flat out.
It should be 100% vote for Trump if you want America to become a great nation.
Yeah, and on multiple levels.
Correct.
If you want America as a whole to be better, then you would vote Trump. If
Correct.
you want individual Americans to have more opportunity in America, you vote for Trump. So you got this multi-layered reasons, stack of reasons why you would want Trump over Hillary. And I'm not even saying, because you're conservative or because you're Republican. I mean, there's Democrats. There's people that probably voted Democrat their whole life. They're like, wow, the only way to really, truly make my life better especially African Americans, black men, black women. You want your life to be better. It's time to start looking at what the conservative ideology can do for you.
Yeah, that would be the Trumpocrats. At Trumpocrats, if you want to follow them on Twitter.
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
They
are awesome.
Their whole site is all about Democrats, liberals, libertarians, other parties that are definitely
They're very all-inclusive, that's for sure. Because mainly it kind of was founded on people who've voted Democrat their whole life that have become Trump supporters.
Right, and they've created a big tent super PAC, if you will, to encompass minorities, women.
I hope they're earning a lot of money and that they're distributing it to help Trump get elected, whether it be through ads, because that's what a lot of PACs do.
Right.
They make ads and stuff like that. And I think, sounds good to me.
Right.
About Donald Trump. You have come out here for over a year. You have defended him. Is it different this time?
Absolutely. No, the word, I've always said I don't agree with some of the language he used, but what this did to me, personally, it proved to me that Mr. Trump has not always wanted to run for office. His entire life has not been to get elected and say things to pander to people to get elected. He was not running for office at this time. He was a part of a world that produces movies and books and songs that use this type of language that I guarantee every single one of us has heard before tonight. And yet, and now he is running for president, but it just shows that he is only running for president for one reason only, because he has problems. He knows that this country has problems that he doesn't believe anybody else can fix. He wasn't a politician. He didn't want this office, but he knows that America's in so much trouble, he needs to help.
So, Scotty, I want to play for you part of this.
Okay, I'm done with that interview.
Yeah.
So, but that goes on for about 4 minutes of the CNN narrator trying to narrate and dictate the story to Scotty, and Scotty ain't having none of that.
Right.
She handles herself very, very well, and probably will not be back on CNN
It's an interesting
again.
point. When you are in the public life as a politician, you can never be, ever in your entire life, caught in a position that could be caught on tape in any kind of a compromising position, whether it's saying something that's off color.
Unless you're Marion Barry and you're running for mayor of D.C. from prison. Because
you win?
Because you were Marion Barry is a guy.
Oh, it's a guy.
Yeah, he was.
Marion Barry.
Marion Barry was the former mayor, re-elect in D.C. Won re-election from prison.
Oh my God!
Because he was caught on FBI surveillance buying crack cocaine from the cops.
Oh my goodness! And that's your Democrat Party. No, but I don't want to lose my.
Sorry,
my
I just
place.
had to throw that out there.
So, as a politician, you have to just be a politician your whole life. You have to avoid all these kind of crazy situations where Trump has not been a politician, right?
Right. No,
he just decided.
He's
out
been
of
an
the blue,
entertainer at the moment.
and that's where I was going with this. As an entertainer, your job is to entertain. What he was doing with Billy Bush was clearly doing a little stand-up routine with him, and I don't know if it was just him and him only in there, or if there was maybe another guy or something. I don't know how many laughters I heard, but if it was just Billy Bush, whatever. He was clearly just trying to entertain him for the few moments that he was in there, as opposed to sitting there in silence and in awkwardness, right?
Right.
That being said, Trump being an entertainer, being a builder, they talk about, here's a guy in the construction industry. I think this is Stephen Molyneux who said this. Here's a guy in the construction industry who's saying lewd comments about women. What a surprise.
Shock.
Yeah. So the point is that if we can't accept that a guy who has been in the construction industry and in the entertainment industry,
and a self-made billionaire,
right, if we can't accept that he may have on tape some off-color remarks. What if, I don't know, Ice Cube decided to run for president? He's on all kinds of audio saying all kinds of really bad things. All kinds of. If we can't have a country where somebody who's not a lifelong politician could have a shot at running for president, then we're just lost anyway. We're a lost cause. We have no hope. We cannot be solely reliant on people who enter their political career as an 18 or 22-year-old college graduate straight into political life and having to you have to separate yourself from normal society in order to prevent yourself from being ever caught in these kind of compromising situations. And I don't want my pool of presidential candidates to be limited to such a horrible group of people. And I'm not saying that you're horrible if you go down that road, but it's not very diverse.
No.
I want to be able to vote for Ice Cube one day. I'm just saying, maybe not Ice Cube, but I mean, maybe somebody like a Donald Trump. And you're going to sit there and tell me that, well, he's been caught acting like a construction worker.
He's been caught acting like a guy.
Yeah. Okay, so we got to remove 50% of the entire population from the pool of people who could possibly run for president because as a guy, he may have been caught on camera with some lewd comments.
It's funny you bring that up. Last night when we were out and about doing our thing, I got a phone call from my mother, who is a very conservative, very respectable woman. It's not like somebody you may get a handshake or a kiss on the first date type of thing, but very proper. And she called me and said, Did you hear what's going on with Trump? I said, yeah, they canceled. I said, no, don't worry. They're trying to...
Don't everybody freak out.
They're trying to redirect the narrative so that you are worried about... And that's when we came up with the whole thing. So she said, so what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And at the end of the conversation I had with her, she's like, oh, guys talk like that all the time. I said, so? Yeah. Okay, whatever. I'm like, you are absolutely right. My neighbor next door, and my mom's a baby boomer. The neighbor next door to me, she's an older, elderly grandmother, probably coming up to her 80s. And I mentioned to her, what did she think about what was going on? And she has a Trump sign in her front yard, by the way. And she looked at me. She said, they ought to just get over it.
She knows.
Yes.
People, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to make of people. And I'm sorry if it's hard for you to get around the reality of this. But when people say, I am disgusted by that. I can't believe, I've never heard anything like that. I mean, I don't know what to think of you if you are absolutely being honest. I personally, if you let me give you my take on your comments when you say that, my immediate gut reaction is you're just not being honest.
Right,
but if by some crazy chance you're absolutely truthful when you say that you're disgusted by it and you've never heard anything like that. And I understand if you are disgusted by it, you're probably, there's probably a lot of females out there that are.
Right. Sure.
But if you've never heard that before and you don't know that not only do guys kind of sometimes, go down that rabbit hole, but probably guys that are close to you in your life have probably gone down that rabbit hole. I don't know what to think of you. Are you really that sheltered?
If you've watched any movie of any sorts, I'm sure you have heard or seen things in movies and motion pictures that have been exponentially more offensive.
Example, if you bring that up, I'm trying to think of one right now, but I mean, it sounds like I probably would have seen movies like that. I mean, we're not talking about Porky's or anything like that.
Well, why not?
Okay, but that actually is probably an accurate depiction of the way guys are acting.
Guys in the movie Porky's, which back in the day,
in the 80s,
was like a rated. There was no ratings. There were no movie ratings, but this should have been like a rated single X. Or at least
probably R.
NC-17. NC-17. But back then there were no movie ratings, and this did show nudity, top and bottom.
There was a lot of 70s movies that showed full front.
That's why they've come out with the ratings for the movies. Is because of the 70s.
If you go back and go to your local library or just go on Amazon or whatever and start just randomly renting or borrowing or Netflix, whatever, movies from the 70s, you'll be pretty shocked because you can't have that kind of stuff now.
So Porky's was about a bunch of young kids who weren't old enough to buy beer that wanted beer and they wanted women.
Porky's was a bar,
right?
Yeah,
and they wanted women and they wanted beer and they did everything all costs to do that. No, right. I know.
We're coming down to. We got 6 minutes before go time on this debate. Is everybody excited out there? I am pumped.
I'm pretty good. I just hope that Trump comes out and calls Hillary Clinton
a liar.
That's what I hope happens. Seriously.
You know, he's going to have to pull the gloves off. And, I'm going to be honest with you. When his very first primary debate ever, first presidential primary debate, he came out firing all cylinders and sounded kind of angry. And I thought it was going to work against him. Afterwards, all except for Frank Luntz, all the polls had him winning overwhelmingly. And I had it wrong. I thought, this anger stuff is not going to work. And it did. I think that he needs to come out guns blazing. What do you think?
I think so. Here's a soundbite real quick. The news media asking Hillary Clinton, who does she look up to in the world?
Who's your favorite world leader? That ain't me. I know. Look, I like a lot of the world leaders. One of my favorites is Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel, come on. Okay, let me tell you what Angela Merkel did. She went ahead and gave away Germany. Germany is pretty much not really. It's kind of like there's lines on a map that say this is Germany, but for the most part, it's not really a country anymore. It's now kind of the Western stronghold of ISIS.
But what are laws? What are laws? Laws are agreed upon rules that the population that agrees upon those rules will follow those rules.
Voluntarily, yeah.
We have different laws in America than other countries, and we have those laws and they're in place because we believe in them and we follow them. What happens when the general population ignores all those laws?
Oh, everything just falls apart. You no longer have a civilized society.
Yeah, laws are actually they're imaginary things. It's an imaginary thing. A law may be written down on a piece of paper, but it is an idea that the people embrace and say, we agree, we're going to follow these. If you have an influx of all these people who disagree with that, your entire country falls apart. And so here's what Obama had to say about Hillary Clinton.
Come on. When Hillary Clinton says I'm out of touch, I just have to remind people of the track record. All right? So now this is Senator Clinton. This is the same person who has taken more money from lobbyists than any other candidate, Democratic or Republican, taking more money from drug company lobbyists and insurance company lobbyists, and she's saying, I'm out of touch. Who do you think is out of touch?
Well, then there you go. Let's listen to the audio that is in the past. Since Trump's audio is in the past, let's bring up the past.
Yeah, and all she is a corrupt, evil person who's doing nothing but harming everybody around her and around the world in order to gain as much power and wealth for herself as possible. And this is just to want to enable this and condone this by supporting her makes you part of the problem too.
Yes, and one last sound clip of the night. This is a blast from the past from Mr. Breitbart himself, speaking from the graves about our dearly beloved Donald J. Trump.
To be here, because over the last 3 years, I've realized that the Republican Party and the conservative movement is not what ABC and CBS puts on the screen. They try to portray you in the worst possible light. And when I walk through CPAC, or I travel the United States to meet people in the Tea Party who care, black, white, gay, and straight, anyone that's willing to stand next to me to fight the progressive left, I will be in that bunker. And if you're not in that bunker because you're not satisfied with this candidate, more than shame on you, you're on the other side.
Need I say any more?
Nailed it.
I mean, that's just what we're looking at, and that's what we're talking about here, folks. The fast 3 hours you'll spend anywhere in the world.
We are about to start the debate, so you guys enjoy it. Anything else to add?
No, that sounds about it for me.
Guys, I will be hopefully doing a post-debate show. I'm not 100% sure yet with Bill Mitchell, so check that out too. And then we'll be
stay
back.
here. Yeah, stay here on Smith Radio, and I'll broadcast the debates live right here on Smith Radio.
Okay, and then as soon as that's over, off to your voice, and then tomorrow morning, I guess, your show.
Good night now.
See you guys.
With unfathomable power.
What kind of power?
Unfathomable. It's without fathom.